Wendy Bell Radio is live.
Hey, good morning.
Yeah, you got it right. I wasn't going to say anything.
It is so good to see you all. Oh my gosh. Hello. Hello, JD. Hello, all of you. Hi. Hi, Admar. Hi, Rosebud. Hi, Carnos. Good morning, Dee Dee Bev, Demanda. Good morning, sweetheart. Hi, Bill Fred. Hi, Glow. What's up, Dawn? Darius. Good morning, sweetheart. Hi, Eric the Gray. Look at you guys go. Clon Tool, what's going on? I love you back. Oh my gosh, it's so good to be with you. Brock, how are you?
I'm good. Let me get something out of the way real quick. So we're going to do fantasy football again.
Oh my.
Sean's back.
Oh.
Toolsy's back.
All right.
I'm back. I need to know if you're back, because if you all come back, I know someone said they weren't. We're going to do 2 leagues, and then we're going to split you guys up into 2 leagues, and Sean's going to be in 1 league or both leagues. Just so.
Can we still call them legs all the time? Can we do that every single time we talk about it?
Wow.
We're going to have 1 leg for one.
Really.
Another leg for another.
You.
Whatever. We should have went somewhere and figured out how to say that word, but okay.
So if you were in the league last year, change your, go to your email and somehow tell me.
Okay. Can I tell you guys something, honestly, since we're talking about stuff? I just wanted to, first of all, say I've missed you. I've missed you so much, and it's really ridiculous. I thought of you a million gillion times. You know what I was off doing this week. And it's going to be interesting how I get through this. But I want to tell you something. I did not travel with my hydrolift. Wendy Bell, with a giant fro of curls.
Did you look like a wet poodle?
I looked like Murphy when he gets out of the bath. Yes, I look like a drowned rat. I missed my hydrolift. Look, if you have limp, lifeless hair, I don't. I did at the beach. You want it to zhuzh. You want fluff. You want life. You want it to be healthy. You want it to be shiny. I want more. And I still have a third of this left. And I use it every day except the last week. Hydrolift from Purance. Get it. It's all about protein, packing your hair with protein, and you'll notice the difference. Purance.com. Purance, Pureance.com. Use my name, Wendy. I just did. Regularly, this is like $40, $44. Put in my name, it drops it down to $28. It is worth every penny.
Let me say this.
Purance.com, promo code Wendy.
DBART1111. I've been using the Hydro Lift. Wendy, I love it.
Oh my God, right? Right? I know. Total Fluffmeister is back. So I'm just so glad to be with you guys. I hope you know you're the best. You're the best audience anywhere. You're better than any TV audience, any radio show, any podcast. You are the best. You have come along on every step of this journey with us. And we have settled into a place that I think is super comfortable. And we're gonna hang here for a while. So thank you. Thank you for letting me be a mom and switching my schedule so I could do stuff with my kids. I got those 7 months. Thank you. You hung with us. I don't know what else to say, but I do love you. Anywho, Deep Thoughts with Wendy is over. I have to choke through the monologue now. And you know it's not going to be easy. Brock, you can say something nice and friendly to me here that makes me feel better.
I'm glad to have you back.
Ah, that's good. Thank you.
I'm a routine guy.
AKA he's over the age of 50, so now he's old.
No, I just...
You like what you like. You like what you know.
I like structure. You guys say, like last week when we had a technical issue with JD, oh, you're so cold, calm, collected when stuff goes wrong. That's because I have 12 things laid out in case something goes wrong. Like I would rather over prepare than under prepare.
Does it matter that my segment timer doesn't work?
Is it at 0?
Yes.
That's because we're not in the show.
Okay.
It should kick on.
It normally just kicks down, so I counts down, so I know.
It should kick on.
Okay. Because I know you said it was a new out time, 57:50?
No.
No.
Not yet.
Okay.
We will change that.
Okay. We're killing it. We've got 1,600 breaking the internet, 36 over on X. People are like, who's this? What's this? We'll build it.
721. Let's go.
We'll build
Get
it
that
up. Come on now. I love you. It's good to be drinking coffee again. Crescent Mountain Coffee.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
Or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back. Not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at you.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we're converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Well, hello, America. Greetings to all of you, and welcome home to the Wendy Bell radio program. It's a new time. We're in a new bunch of cities. It's a new day. It is a new wonderful time to celebrate being proud of America. That's what we are here on the Wendy Bell radio program. We love America. We don't lie to you. We tell you the truth. We talk about things that are sometimes uncomfortable, that need to be talked about, that nobody wanted us to talk about. And now everybody's talking about them. And we're like, really? Where did that come from? If you are new, WendyBellRadio.com is how you can join in the live video stream. It is the greatest audience. You are the greatest audience. And we are so delighted to be with you at our new time. If you're joining us for the first time, give me a few minutes and come on back. Welcome home. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. You know, it's interesting how life goes. There are things you get to do, and there are things that you have to do. And sometimes your description of those things kind of changes, right? I have to get a root canal, right? Nobody's like, woohoo, I get to do that. I have to pay my taxes. I get to make dinner for my family every night. I get to go on that soccer tournament with my children to Baltimore. I get to watch my children grow. I get to be a part of all of that. So much of what we think we do, chores, tasks, things on the to-do list. I got to go do that. Got to go do that. Got to take it. No, this weekend I got a really big dose of what I've gotten to do over the last, God knows, 26 plus years. And that is to be a mom. A lot of you don't know me. I am a 56-year-old woman who has 5 great kids, 5 beautiful sons. My husband, Joe, and I, they're all adults now, 26 down to twin 18-year-olds. And my life has been full. It has been busy. I was for many years a television news anchor and reporter for almost, I don't even know how many I could say. And then I stumbled into radio. And I found my conservative voice, and I started sharing common sense stories that just made sense. And a lot is based on my experiences, trying and oftentimes failing as a mom. But this last weekend, I had the great privilege, I got to, with my husband Joe, take our 2 youngest sons to college. They are freshmen at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, joining their next oldest brother, who is a junior. Ryan is a junior there. And so our three youngest sons are together in the Smoky Mountains in God's country and such a great community. And on Friday, after we moved them into their dorms and rushed around doing all the things that every other parent does as they take their kids to college, all the extras at the store that kids don't think about. We took the kids out for a beautiful dinner, the five of us, and went back to their dorms to take the final picture. And it hit me. Friday, as Joe and I said goodbye to the boys, was 29 years to the date that he asked me to marry him. I never would have guessed on August 14th of that date, that year, that 29 years later, I'd be an empty nester. And we drove home Saturday morning, told the kids, don't worry, we're not going to wake you up and make you have breakfast with us. Sleep in. We'll just hit the road and come back to Pittsburgh. And I was happy, but so lonely already. The hallway down to their room looks right into their room, and it seems about 4 times longer now. And I found myself wishing I could see all of Bobby's dirty clothes that he likes to pile up on the ground by his bed. So that's what you get to see when you walk down the hallway. I'm like, if you're not going to put things away, can you at least hide them a little bit better? And I walked in there this morning, and it's not done. I'm not done being a mom, but they don't really need me that much right now, you know? And that's a good thing. So why does it hurt so much? Right? And so I'm driving to work this morning, and I'm a complete ball of nerves. My stomach is in knots. I can't eat. I slept like garbage. I'm so excited to come to you and talk to you. And my phone rings. And it's Christopher, one of the twins. And he's walking to his first college class. And he called me. I just wanted you to know, Mom, I love you. And I walked this special way because it's really beautiful. There's a great view. This path that I'm walking right now. And I just wanted you to know that I love you. How is 18 years of colic and croup and sleepless nights and stomach bugs and teaching them how not to drown in the bathtub and cross the street and pay attention and don't put something in there and don't touch him and clean up your room, and now you have to do your own laundry and all this? How is it so fast and so triumphant at once? So many of the stories we're going to talk about today have to do with family, have to do with safety, have to do with our children, have to do with our most precious resources, and it is our kids. And it's going to be a while until this new normal, I guess, makes sense. Shopping for a couple people is different than shopping for 7. Making dinner for 3. Or one of our sons is still living at home, waiting to get into graduate school. And he's working full time, but he's there. Cooking for 3 isn't as much fun as cooking for 7. There's nobody to come downstairs, mill around the kitchen, inspect what's being made, see if they can help out, and to sit down and enjoy it with me. I got to do that. I got to do it for 26 years, you guys. And today I feel blessed and absolutely broken. How many of you have felt that? And they'll be fine. I know they'll be fine. They'll learn stuff. I have to share one story with you. So we're at the hotel Friday morning. We wake up early, get breakfast, ready to move in. Our move-in time is at 10. The boys are not roommates. The twins aren't, but they're on separate floors in the same dorm. So we get ready to go. Hit the free breakfast at wherever we were, Hampton Inn or what have you. And Joe grabs a hard-boiled egg. He's going to sit down and have that and something else. Chris is like, you know what? I'm going to have a hard-boiled egg. And he sits down. It hasn't been shelled. Brock just said, oh no, through the glass. You know it's coming, don't you?
He bit right into it.
No. He just looked at it and looked at Joe and looked at the egg again. And Joe's like, oh my gosh, you've never cracked a hard-boiled egg? I have failed as a parent, ladies and gentlemen. Literally, this is my going into moving my kids and saying goodbye. I am a hard-boiled egg away from being a failure as a parent.
No, that just means you're not done yet.
Oh my goodness. Right? It's such a joy. We are so blessed. And that is what this program is about. You know, we talk about a lot of hard things here. We're going to talk about Fauci. We're going to talk about his emails. We're going to talk about his cell phone. We're going to talk about his text messages. We're going to talk about what he knew when he knew it while he was telling all of us something totally different. And if you had that brain, that little in your mind, and you're like, you know what, something here is really fishy, and I'm not for it, man, they rained almighty hellfire down on you. And that was wrong. And I'm sorry, or a whoopsies, we got it wrong, is never going to be good enough. And so, as I balance these weird mom emotions I have of total joy and complete devastation, so too will we talk about the news today. We will become enlightened. I will tell you where to go to fact check me. You can do that. And when you realize that the pact I make with you every single day to never, ever deceive you, once you realize I mean it, you'll keep coming back, I hope. Welcome to the Wendy Bell Radio program. When we come back, we got to talk about those seashells in the sand. I know, it's a shocker. It wasn't just some random formation James Comey stumbled upon. And there's some text messages that prove it. Oh, wah, wah. Next.
I know.
Isn't, yeah, okay. So yeah, that was it. Like, it was so well. I'm trying, like, you're in that moment where you're like, I want to take my bread and soak up the gravy and not let it go. And then my mind, I'm like, I only have another hour. You know how you can't enjoy something when you know it's about to end? And so you stop enjoying it because you get ravaged by it. Yeah, that was me. And I'm like, stop it. Stop it.
Chris never cracked a hard-boiled egg.
Then I had to teach Michael how to write a check.
Look
I
at
know.
you throwing all your kids under the bus.
I'm
He told us
telling-
he's getting thrown under the bus.
He's never had to write a check before. Had to get checks. Had to write some tax monies out. Love the IRS, Jags. I'm so glad you guys are here. We're breaking it at 2,300. We'll get there. You know what? It's not the number I have found with you guys. It's the quality, and you guys are quality, and I love you for that. Hey, Kelly Morgan sent me a message. She's in another, is it a bodybuilding thing again? She showed me this skimpy, sequined, star-spangled little bikini that she's going to wear. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's the only human being in humanity who could wear it. I'm like, you go, girl. I'd be breaking out in hives. She's like, I'm going to go to this thing in Cleveland. It's a wonderful event. Please ask people if they wouldn't mind going to moregainsfitness.com and voting them their favorite gym. There's a competition going on, and I think the Wendy Bell Radio family can probably help her out. MORGAINZ fitness.com. And remember, when you're there, Kelly does the 90 Ignite program, which is phenomenal no matter where you live. She can help you via messages, videos, Zooms, etc. create a plan to eat right, exercise, do all the exercises you need to, and in 90 days, 90 Ignite, lose weight, lose fat, lose inches, and gain your old body back. Moregainsfitness.com. Best gym. I would vouch for that. So what's going on? How are you guys? Freebird, I love that. We are family. Yes. Yes, we are. Oh, I love that. It's good to see you. Hey, small town girl. Hi, lady in pink. Do we have some people who have come back to us? Hi, Moogle. What's going on? I am Sam. It's good to see you. Aunt Mel's back. Stephen G. Hello, hello. So weird. It's going to take a while, right? Joe and I went to the grocery store then yesterday. And we're walking down the aisles. And he's like, well, we don't need any more Dr. Pepper. And I'm like, stop it. And he's like, well, we don't need any more chips. And I'm like, stop it. And it was the loneliest, most cost-effective trip I've ever made to the grocery store.
So Joe's cutting you off from the Pringles?
We got out of Walmart under $200 and out of Sam's for about the same. I'm like, what? It's never like that, ever. Oh, it's just going to make Thanksgiving.
You know, if you want to cook for a lot of people, I can make it.
you want to be added to the list. Oh my goodness. It's just...
Well, now if I smoke another brisket, I don't have to buy a 12-pound brisket.
No.
I can get an 8-pound.
And then I will be sad because we'll reminisce about how Bobby was like, I don't like brisket. And you're like, you've never had it, you turd. And then he was like, man, he ate it. And he was like, oh.
And let's not forget.
Stop it.
Wendy took the first cut it and took the first bite.
Hey, look, if everybody's gonna sit around and look at it, I'm gonna like, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna eat it or are we gonna watch it?
Look at it. I just opened it. What? Look at it. You didn't give a chance to look at it.
Well, you know what? Be faster next time. That's all you need to know. Just be faster.
So nice to be blamed for everything.
You guys, newsflash, the slushy machine. Getting things ready with the family, moving the kids in. I was scrolling periodically through social media, checking to see what was going on. And it really was just this laundry list of things that you and I have been talking about, honest to goodness, for the past 6 years. All of the studies that we brought up, all of the data that we're like, this doesn't seem to make sense. And the hunting and pecking and the BS boards and the sourcing and all of that we did. All of a sudden now, it's come out. It's like Fauci and the story about how disgusting and despicable a human being that man is, that pulled the Band-Aid and the scab off of what we weren't supposed to be talking about. And now people are coming out of the woodwork. Oh, you have a story. I have a story. We're like, we've been talking about this stuff. But some of it is very exciting. I hope James Comey, and this might be harsh, but I don't care, burns in eternal hellfire. Why do I say that? Can you imagine being head of the Federal Bureau of Investigation and running your operation as a warfare machine to target one man, his family, his associates, and anybody else who dared believe in making America great again, as though that's some moniker you should be ashamed of? One man, James Comey. Well, you know, the seashells in the sand, the 86-47 he stumbled upon last year on his beach stroll. Well, here's a headline for you, courtesy of the Gateway Pundit. Here you go. Caught. Comey's wife texted him the meaning of 86 minutes before his 86-47 beach stunt. God, I hate when that happens, don't you? When people are like, I had no idea. What? Like what? Wipe it with a cloth? That sort of I had no idea, said Hillary. What did C stand for? Was that classified? I don't know. And we're all like, right. Investigative reporter Paul Sperry posted a damning update to the Jim Comey 86-47 beach story over the weekend. He says there's evidence now that Jim Comey's wife, Patricia, Trish, sent him a Google screenshot of a non-violent definition of the term 86 2 minutes before Comey posted his infamous rock picture of 8647 on Instagram. How did we find this out? Well, an FBI affidavit for a search warrant in the James Comey presidential threat case. That's what it is. It is a threat against a president, whether sitting or past. You cannot do that, by the way. So this search warrant in the James Comey presidential threat case reveals his wife, Patrice, I should say, Comey, sorry, sent him a Google screenshot of a non-violent definition of the term 86. He was like, hey, honey, do you think you can, where's plausible deniability here, right? 86 doesn't mean kill in the restaurant business. It means you don't have any more of. 86, the pasta, we ran out, right? Well, when it's 8647, you have to be a moron. And of course, the media and the left want you to believe you are. So that screenshot of a nonviolent definition of the term 86, 2 minutes before Comey posted the alleged threat against Trump, indicating, oh, I don't know, maybe a little forethought that his posting could be construed as a threat. As you know, 86 too is a common street term for murder. Comey and his wife thought they were being cute. Instead of going after actual bad guys, instead of tracking down violent offenders, instead of breaking up gangs or cartels or human trafficking rings or pedophilia situations, no, James Comey, while he was the FBI director before Trump sacked him, decided to do everything in his power to be vindictive. He leaked information through his aides to the New York Times, and oh, alas, it appears this FBI affidavit also has uncovered those messages. Good job, he said to one of his aides who posted some nonsense mumbo jumbo about Trump, Russian collusion, the Steele dossier, and every other thing. Such nonsense that was created to thwart the president. You cannot avoid justice if, in fact, we live in a country where there aren't multiple tiers of it. And when the Democrats are in charge, they tell you there aren't two sets of rules, not one for Democrats or Republicans, conservatives or liberals, black, white, Jewish, Catholic. No, we're all treated the same under the law. No, that is not the case. And this administration is working on exposing it so everybody knows and then punishing the offenders. James Comey, in my book, is the first one to be, I hope, to fall. We're not going to get Fauci to fall, but we can get James Comey. We can get Brennan. We can get these people just by telling the truth, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, Todd Blanche, Attorney General, snarling the media's attempts to make him look like a Trump puppet. Kind of impressive. I think you need to hear it. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Comey, oh no. Oh, James, he's sweating. He's sweating. John Brennan is sweating. He's the guy who was like, look, we know the Steele dossier is garbage. It's discredited by the intelligence community. Put it in there anyway. Really? Because you know President Trump's propensity for hiring prostitutes to urinate on him. Something I totally could see him doing. I hate people. So what do you think, Brock?
About?
The timer.
We're not going to have it today.
Okay. Well, I will have to be very good at my math.
No, you won't. When you hear the music,
Stop talking.
You have 30 seconds.
So I'm super excited, you guys. I want to tell you that Casandrinos oil has come back to us. Olive oil, specifically from a family, multi-generation business, a family run farm of olive groves, if you will. The olives that come from these olive groves create the most delicious, clean olive oil. I've never really had good olive oil until I tried Casandrinos olive oil. And I started doing some reading about it. This isn't just, oh, we're going to take some olives, do whatever we do, put them in a bottle and send them to you. Every batch is third-party tested. Every bottle is made to order. It's not sitting in some big drum somewhere and your order comes through and they're like, hey, Phil, go get it out of the back. It's there, it's fresh, it's ready, and they have all these transparency benchmarks. I've never seen a company that does this. All of their certifications are listed on their website. So you can see they're certified from the Paleo Foundation. They're certified non-GMO verified certification, organic, USDA certified, all of the testing and analysis of what you get when you get Casandrinos olive oil. It is delicious. You're going to love it. And I want to make sure I get you the right code for it, because if you've never tried this, you don't know what you're missing. It is phenomenal. Casandrinos.com, K-A-S-A-N, Drinos, D-R-I-N-O-S, Casandrinos.com /discount/Wendy. There's a few slashes going on, but you're going to like the discount. And they're going to get it to you ASAP. And by the way, they also do spices. They do balsamics. And if you've never made your own balsamic vinaigrette with the highest quality ingredients, I don't think you'll ever want anything else.
Get the raspberry.
It is out of this world. Casandrinos.com /discount/Wendy. Also in the notes.
Yeah.
Right.
Get the olive oil and get the balsamic and the raspberry.
I'm just telling you, if
it's my new favorite dressing.
It is off the charts. Off the charts. And I've already blown through mine, so I have to get on some system. I need to get on a subscription for that because it's absolutely worth it. Once you start using it, you're like, I'm not going back to the Giant Eagle brand, right? It's good to be back.
I don't know. You've already corrected my English a couple times.
Yes, it feels so smart, doesn't it? It feels right.
It's like the warm blanket. Like it's just
feels good. Feels good. We've got 130 people are waking up. They're finding us on X. Hi, if you're on X.
Some time.
It is. You guys, we've been all over the place. And because of you, we've been able to.
Like I said last week, it's a great opportunity presented on the radio side with the John Fredericks radio network. And sometimes when you least expect it, opportunities come. And that's a huge.
I don't think either Brock or myself felt great about noon. For the first 5 years, we didn't do it, or the first several years, I should say, after Rush passed, we didn't do it because it was wrong. That was nobody's time slot, right? And then I had this opportunity to spend more time with the kids, and I had to take it. And Brock was like, I'll do what you want to do. And
what else am I going to do?
Neither of us enjoy the getting home later. It kind of just pushes the day and makes you feel rushed on the flip side. So when John Fredericks got in touch with me and was like, hey, what do you think? 24 stations, but you'd have to move to 10 a.m. I'm like, okay. And he was like, what? I don't think he was expecting.
No, he called me first.
And you're like,
it's a great opportunity.
Right?
Everybody pitches me to pitch Wendy.
He's my bitch. I'll just say it. Sorry, Harley.
Wow. Sorry, her. What about me? You just called me a bitch.
Hey, Ireland Contracting. Oh my gosh, I'm calling him today. Finally, construction is finished and it's time to do some finesse lighting. If you have landscapes that need lighting, that need some love, if you need an electrician, can I please tell you, when you live in Pittsburgh, his name is Dan Ireland. Is he with the Ireland Contracting, and he's phenomenal. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. Yes, his parents own the business: roofing, siding, soffit, fascia, gutters, downspouts, skylights, sun tunnels. Their son is the electrician. He's magnificent. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. He'll get back in touch with you 24 to 48 hours. Love him. Wait until tomorrow.
I told them all last week to hurry up and call because
get on his docket, because I wasn't going to be there to get in the way. Got it. I'm drinking coffee again at a normal time. Oh, welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. You know, I do admit I'm extraordinarily biased. I'm extraordinarily opinionated. And the opinions I share here, I don't imagine everybody falls in line with everything I say. But I can tell you with some authority as a former member of the media, right? 30 years plus in television news, news anchor, reporter. I did it all. And I've chronicled my dismay with what's happened to the news. It's not just local, it's national, it's everything. There's a lack of actual objective, hard-hitting, curious investigation. Instead, I believe the media cover things they don't want us to talk about because they're basically controlled by the government. And it's extraordinarily off-putting for me to say that. I wanted to do that. I wanted to be a television news person. I wanted to tell people stories. I wanted people to have someone to trust, to believe in, who was going to work hard and not lie to them. And to watch over the last 10 years what's happened. All you needed to do was flip on the weekend shows this past weekend. And Todd Blanche, now that he's the official attorney general, got peppered with these questions from these news people, one from Fox, Shannon Bream, and one from NBC, Kristen Welker. And it doesn't matter what their call letters are. It doesn't matter what the network is that they represent. They're both god-awful. Let's not talk about the things that this administration is doing to cut human trafficking, to find missing children from the Biden administration. Last time I checked, there are about 500,000 of them. That's kind of a big story. Let's not talk about crime. Let's not talk about money. Let's not talk about the tariffs and how that's working. Let's not talk about employment or about wages or about anything that this administration has done and that the DOJ under Todd Blanche would have a role in. We're going to talk about how Todd Blanche, because he's Donald Trump's personal attorney who represented him in the lawfare cases in the off season of his two presidencies, right, is somehow biased or is a puppet of the president's. That's not how it works. That's not who Todd Blanche says he is. And Todd Blanche made that abundantly clear this weekend in very interesting common sense speak. And in about 5 minutes, that's the totality of what you're about to hear, 5 or 6 minutes, he not only illustrates the bias of the question and the ridiculosity, if you will, I do make up words, of these so-called news people and their agendas. He shows you and says to you the common sense things. Look, we just want a safe country. This president is going to ask me to break the law. He never has. He never would. And I never would. This is a stupid line of questioning. Do you have anything better? God, I appreciate that. Gosh, I appreciate that. Pam Bondi would get defensive and then go to Fox News and talk about something that nobody cared about. Todd Blanche is like, yeah, you know what? Let's go. And I want you to hear it. Here he is with Shannon Bream over on Fox over the weekend. They're talking about that anti-weaponization bill. President Trump feels very strongly about the weaponization of Biden's DOJ against not just Trump and his family and his closest lieutenants and helpers and all the January 6ers, all of the MAGA people who believe in American exceptionalism, but specifically this fund to compensate Americans who were on the wrong end of a corrupt DOJ, the corrupt DOJ in which people like Brennan and Comey and others oscillated, right? And so Kristen or Shannon Bream wants to skewer Todd Blanche. What about this anti-weaponization bill? It's killed. You said you're not going to be funding anything through the government to compensate people who were victims of lawfare from the prior administration. Listen to the question. Listen to the answer. Kind of impressive.
Let's talk about one of the hurdles you had to get past, not only with Democrats, but with Republicans, to get to where you are now, officially confirmed. It had to do with this anti-weaponization fund, all of this stemming from a settlement over an IRS contractor leaking the president's tax records. You have said that fund is no more. It's going away. But there are objections from Democrats who don't believe it's actually dead. Here is Senator Adam Schiff.
He refused to put that in writing. He refused to put that under oath. And, of course, that raises profound questions, given what we already know, and that is They have used Justice Department funds to pay off the president's cronies.
Is there any scenario in which that particular fund survives? There are legal challenges as well, I know, still pending on that. Any scenario in which it comes back? Or what do you say to Democrats who say, well, there are other funds and other measures within DOJ you're using to do the same thing?
No, I mean, the fund is dead, or whatever word you want to use. It never started. So it's not as if the fund is coming back. The fund never started. And Senator Schiff is not being honest. He's not being honest with the American people, and he knows it. So he knows that I have said under oath. He knows that I have put it in writing. He knows that I have said publicly, repeatedly. President Trump said during the cabinet meeting that he understood it was dead. Now, here's the difference between this rhetoric around the fund and the truth. The truth of the matter is President Trump has said for many years that he believes that the Justice Department was weaponized against a lot of Americans, not just January 6ers, but a lot of Americans that had the Justice Department used against them, and it really hurt them financially. He's talked about that on the campaign trail and up to this very recently. He will not stop saying that. And guess what? I agree with him. The Department of Justice over the last several years was weaponized against some people, but we are not using the anti-weaponization fund to compensate to the extent that anybody in this country feels that a tort has been committed against them by the government. They can sue, and that's what Democrats said all along. They said, why can't you just let anybody sue the way the law allows? And that's what we're doing.
I find that refreshing. This president makes no bones about his feelings, not just about the January 6ers, but about the Mark Houcks of the world. You remember his story, right? Father of 8, FBI rolled in, scared the bejeebers out of his family, dragged him away, right? In what world were we living in? And Todd Blanche says it was wrong. This president knows it's wrong. I agree with him. But stop trying to accuse us of something that's not going on. Isn't that an interesting strategy on the left? And by the media, by the way, even if it's wrapped in the Fox News logo. It's a curious question to ask. You know, Trump sued the IRS and the Treasury Department for $10 billion for leaking his tax returns, 2019 and 2020. The suit stemmed from disclosures by former IRS contractor Charles Littlejohn, who was later prosecuted and sentenced for leaking Trump's tax information. The victim here is President Trump and his family and his friends, because it happened to them as well. What did he get out of the settlement in June? Trump settled it with the IRS. Not a dollar, not a penny. You know what he got? He got a formal apology from the United States government. That was what he wanted. Todd Blanche continues. What about insulating the Trump family from future IRS audits? Because that's part of this. Todd Blanche is like a curious question indeed. And he sets the record straight. Listen.
What about the contours of protection for the president, his sons, and the Trump organization with respect to IRS audits? Can you clarify what remains intact from that?
So, and by the way, let's not forget the reason for this lawsuit is that the president, his family, multiple people within the Trump organization had their tax records literally just shared with a lot of people and used against them. And so that's a horrible wrong that was committed against the president and many others. And by the way, nobody gets a dime. He did not get a dime. His kids don't get a dime. The Trump org does not get a dime from this settlement. But what we did do, and what remains the case, is that any existing audits, are no longer. Now, that doesn't mean moving forward, there's no protection. Okay. So anything that the president files or that Trump org files going forward, that has nothing to do with it. And it also is only for the people named in the plaintiffs named in the lawsuit. Okay. Again, a lot of rhetoric around that was I think used by Democrats to come after me and to come after the president. But that's different than what is actually true.
It's so interesting how the deep state, and I'll put Shannon Bream in that pot. Right? The deep state, they accuse others of what they're actually doing. And it's so obvious to see it, right? They would use the money the way Joe Biden got $31 million from China, we know, right? Trump never did that. They had to lie about him. They had to make up stuff about him. They had to create that stupid dossier. They need 24 hours around the clock negative coverage. They make fake polls, fake news, fake everything. Come on. It's so ridiculous. And Todd Blanche is like, you know what? This president is trying to make things better. He's trying to undo what's been done and make it better moving forward. So we don't have to deal with this again. Shannon and then Kristen Welker over at NBC. This news babe wants to know if Todd Blanche plans to act independently of the president, or is he just kind of going to be his puppet? This is a very interesting answer Kristen Welker totally wasn't expecting.
Course, used to be President Trump's former personal defense attorney. Can you pledge that the Justice Department will always act independently of the White House?
Well, there's a big difference between saying we will always do our job and investigate any case and act independently of the White House. No, I'm not going to pledge that. And no attorney general should ever pledge that. The president, I mean, if I were to pledge I will be independent of the White House, what that means is that if President Trump says, I want the Department of Justice to go after every violent criminal in this country, which is what he has said, what you're saying to me is I should say, no, sir, I'm not going to do it. So I will act with integrity. Our prosecutors will act with integrity. We will prosecute without fear or any sort of favor. And that's exactly what we've been doing. And that's what every Department of Justice should do.
We have never experienced a media inquisition of this nature on any presidential administration like this before in history. Period. Never happened under Joe. They wouldn't even tell you the truth that he was a mental, well, what should we say? Cognitively in collapse, if we want to be nice. A final audio soundbite asks, this is Kristen Welker, presuming, of course, well, what if the president asks you to do something illegal? You guys see that? You see that a lot. You feel that vibe out of this president, out of this attorney general, that their job is to go break the law and rub roughshod on everybody like the Biden administration. And Blanche dismantles that very quickly.
Well, I guess big picture, if the president asks you to do something that you feel crosses an ethical or legal line, would you do it?
The president will never ask me to do something unethical or legal or illegal. He never has. He never will. And no, I swore to the Constitution of the United States, like every cabinet secretary has done, and like every attorney general before me has done. And so, this narrative that's mostly pushed by the left and pushed by the media, that the president's going to pull me aside and ask me to do something illegal, is completely a false narrative, not true, will not happen, and hasn't happened.
And stop wasting my time. Very impressed by what I've seen so far from this attorney general officially. We'll see what happens, but isn't it curious that the media are all so accusatory? Where was this 4 years ago? When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, we've several infuriating Fauci developments for you today. But first, we're going to talk about Anthony Fauci's wife, because she is a true piece of work. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I'm going to move that Terry Moran to the end of the show because I think that's actually very interesting and I don't want to lose it. I'm going to move that to the very end.
Okay.
The Terry Moran stuff. So I hope that doesn't fudge you up if I could do that as the closing segment.
No.
Okay. As long as that doesn't do that to you, that would be
I wondered this morning how you were going to get that all in. So
I knew that segment was fat. So thank you.
No, I'll change everything I'm doing. Don't worry about me.
I don't.
I know.
Wow. That's fantastic. Okay. So, wow, that was loud. When you sleep on a ghost bed and then you don't sleep on a ghost bed, it sucks. How's that? That's my promo for a ghost bed. It sucks if you don't sleep on it. Yeah. We stayed in a house in South Carolina for several days. And the mattress, we've stayed there many, many times, mooching off of the generosity of Joe's parents. And the room that Joe and I get has a lousy freaking mattress. It's been the same lousy mattress for probably 10 years. I missed my ghost bed. Ghost bed right now, if you've been thinking about getting a new mattress, can I please tell you that now is a fantastic time to get one? every single ghost bed, doesn't matter which level, which tier you get, right? There's a hybrid that's got the firm mattress with the pillow top. There's different varieties of ghost bed made in America, by the way, that you can get mattresses. All of them have this cooling technology. So if you're one that roasts at night, or you wake up and you're like kicking off the sheets and just always in and out, hot and cold, you're going to love your ghost bed mattress, no matter which one you buy. You can sleep on it for 101 nights, risk-free. Try it before you decide, right? You won't want to let go of it because it is fabulous. Super easy to get. Ghostbed.com/Wendy. Use my name, Wendy. You're going to get 10% off. All right. They offer financing. It is that you spend a third of your life in bed. It might as well be fan-freaking-tastic. And it's extraordinarily so with Ghost Bed. I love mine. And I miss it when I'm not on it. Ghostbed.com/Wendy. Promo code Wendy. Hi, everybody. So we've got just shy of 3,000. But you know what? Who are we up against? Are we up against Dan Bongino today?
Yeah.
Now we started up against Bongino. That's all right. I like the grassroots. Hey, by the way, if you're new, there's this really cute button. It says follow. And if you do that, what are we, 560 away from 10?
Like 530.
530 away from 100,000 Rumble followers. It's not like we've been trying to do this for, I don't know, ever. Brock said it was his goal, what, on the 5th anniversary?
Yeah.
Which is coming up on September 7th. I hope we can beat it. I hope we can get there. So thank you guys for being here. Love, love, love it. Let's see. We got 177 comments. All right. Here's a question. Tell me what you liked about JD Rucker in the comments section. I think he's a star. I love him. I love his writing. Love, love, love him. He's the most helpful, accommodating, easy to deal with on my end. Brock, you too?
Yes.
Isn't that nice to have somebody who's like, whenever you need something? And he even said to Brock, which I think is so nice, if there's an emergency and something happens and Wendy has to be off, let me know. We're 3 hours apart. That's a huge time difference. He's like, I'll do it anytime you want. He said, you have the best audience in radio. Duh. Million downloads on the podcast, guys. Super excited about that. Thank you so much. Wendy Bell Radio, wherever you get your favorite podcast, you're going to find us. Dr. Peter McCullough, as more and more of the Fauci files drop, and Ron Johnson and Rand Paul read more into these text messages, et cetera, the more I understand how cutting edge Dr. Peter McCullough has been with regard to the treatment of COVID and the treatment of injuries from the vaccine. This guy is a star, and he has been since the beginning of the pandemic. He wrote an article on a site called The Focal Points, thefocalpoints.com. And it's important because it's about Tony Fauci's wife, Dr. Christine Grady. You know her. She was the one that gave you the middle finger as the media were staking out Fauci's house after his 111 times not answering questions, right? Here's what Dr. McCullough writes. Can one person, Dr. Anthony Fauci, be held accountable for all COVID-19 atrocities all over the world? Some say yes because of his influence, captured in his own diary. He had global reach and unquestioned power. Many overseas said they trusted the U.S. in taking the lead on pandemic response. Others would say Fauci had an extensive supporting cast, and closest to him was his wife, Dr. Christine Grady. So a gentleman named Steve Gruber sat down with Dr. Peter McCullough on America's Voice Live to kind of unpack the bombshell Fauci text messages. And the conversation zeroed in on a figure whose silence may have been as damning as Fauci's public lies. And that's Christine Grady, Fauci's wife, and the former head of bioethics. Isn't that a kick in the pants? This broad is the head of bioethics at the NIH, was at the time. And it all boils down to these smoking gun texts. The texts reveal Fauci privately acknowledged, and we're going to get deeper into this, a theoretical risk that second-dose mRNA shots could trigger miscarriages through fever and inflammatory cytokine responses, particularly in the first trimester. So he texted CDC Director Rochelle Walensky and Surgeon General Vivek Murthy about these concerns. Their response, they admitted that they had no safety data for pregnant women. I'm sorry? None? Days later, Fauci stood before cameras and declared no red flags for pregnant vaccine recipients. Walensky went even further, actively recommending the shots at any stage of pregnancy. The result was predictable and tragic. McCullough cited a paper showing the COVID vaccines were 100 times more likely to cause miscarriage than the flu vaccine. An earlier New England Journal of Medicine paper from the CDC itself indicated miscarriage rates could be as high as 82%, though McCullough noted that they never really pinned down the true number. This is where Grady enters the frame, though, and her role is devastating in its implications. As chief of the NIH Department of Bioethics, Fauci's wife, Christine Grady, was literally the nation's top authority on medical ethics. McCullough spelled out what every first-year bioethics student learns. You never administer an untested product to pregnant women, period. Not tested mammalian pregnancy models, not tested for any kind of toxicity. The precautionary principle exists precisely to prevent what happened next. Grady, living in the same home as the man orchestrating the largest mass vaccination campaign in history, right? Raised no public objection, no whistleblowing, no quiet resignation, no op-ed, nothing. With Biden's COVID-19 vaccine mandate for federal employees, the U.S. government forced unsafe products into pregnant women who were employees at that time. Even North Korea, China, Russia, and Cuba did not do this to their people. I wonder if Grady teaches about the ethics of vaccine mandates at Georgetown. Her silence was functionally an endorsement. Fauci and HHS leaders, emboldened by the implicit green light from the nation's bioethics chief, who happened to be sleeping next to him, pushed forward with vaccinating pregnant women using a synthetic mRNA platform never before deployed in human pregnancy. This was a world first, an unprecedented experiment on pregnant women conducted without informed consent under the banner of public health. One wonders what those two talked about at night. McCullough called for prosecution on multiple fraud charges and mass negligent homicide, including explicitly the avoidable miscarriages and stillbirths. And 3 states right now, including Florida, are pursuing state-level charges outside of the reach of Fauci's federal pardon. When we come back, hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell radio program, the Fauci files are getting more diabolical by the day. What he knew and what he told us next. Does everybody have no moral compass? Like, is that a prerequisite to work in these science institutions? Just be blindly driven by money? Who cares what your collateral damage is along the way? How many women had problems getting pregnant and then went through IVF or any of the other procedures and managed to finally conceive, right? Finally be pregnant, only to be told by their obstetrician, oh, they said it's totally safe, you should completely get it, and then lost. But they probably spent what? $30,000 desperately to try to create. I have a seething hatred for these people. Seething and raw hatred. Other than that, how are you guys? Right? That's where I've been. Tulip blooms. Did not have tulip blooms on vacation because I couldn't travel with it. Because I knew somebody at TSA would be like, cork it. I'd be like, hey, no, I'll give you anything else. The velour massaging oil, anything from Tulip Blooms. Look, I never spent a lot of money on moisturizers and whatnot. I just never did. And then I tried Tulip Blooms. And if you've ever gotten a massage or not a massage, a pedicure or a manicure, you know how your hands feel and your feet feel afterwards. You're like, oh, that's Tulip Blooms massaging oil. Rub it in anywhere that's dry, that's calloused, that needs some hydration and love, and give it 5 minutes to soak in, and then tell me how you feel. Putting it on your feet and then putting on socks, forget about it. It's freaking fantastic. And I'm trying out fragrances right now to see if we can nail down my own little spritzy scent. We'll see. I don't know. I'm trying them out. We'll see what we like, what we don't like.
You mean odor.
Tulip, it's not odor. That's terrible. Shut up. tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. This line of body butters and essential oils is so great for gifts. That person in your life, men love it too, by the way. The person in your life who has everything, you're like, I don't know what to get them. Go to tulipblooms.shop/Wendy, and it's sent. And it's just wrapped and sent beautifully. It's like a present when you open it up. You're like, wow, it's lovely. tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. So what else is going on? How's everybody? I feel like we haven't gossiped in a while. We need to get on the books with a Sunday show. This weekend I can't, but next weekend I can. I've missed weekends with Wendy. 209 comments. Let's go. That's awesome. Thank you. Sort by the newest. Hi, Margie. So glad you're back, Wendy. Love you, Wendy and Brock. Thank you. Oh, not your basic biatch. Welcome back. We missed you. Thank you so much. Hey, Mama Ben Hudson. Fauci and wife pillow talk, right? How they would spend their gazillion dollars. Touche. 100% right on that one. I mean, honestly, am I in like some weird minority here that I would never take money if I knew it was going to hurt somebody else? Like, how do you just sign up for that? And you're like, yeah, absolutely. So people are going to die. Their lives will be ripped apart and things will be miserable for them for a long time. Absolutely. Like, who does that? I don't get it. I don't get it.
The wall clock will be looked at after the show.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you. I can do it. It's fine. But it's just like, all right. Hey, Pops. It's good to see you. Hi, Heather. Heather sent me a shot of her, a video of her on her riding mower.
Was she rubbing it in?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Can I tell you, and this, I'm not saying like do the commercial or the read, but I was talking to my buddy yesterday and he's like, dude, I didn't even know he took it, the Blood Flow 7. He started his working out with a trainer. He's like, I feel like I can rip the gym apart.
I'm telling you.
He's like, it's nuts.
I'm telling you.
Yeah,
I travel with Blood Flow 7 and the GLP-1 Gold. What Brock is talking about, for those of you who are new, Blood Flow 7 is this. It's this. I take 2 of these a day. Okay. And I do it first thing in the morning. And it's a molecule. It's called nitric oxide. It's a gas molecule, and it causes your blood vessels to relax. And when they relax, they loosen a little bit. More blood can get through them. And it's like I've made the equation of like my husband opening up somebody's with a stent, clearing a blockage in an artery, and all of a sudden it's like the weight of the world is gone once it opens up. They're like, oh, you feel stamina and strength and like this wild, like what? Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. I will not stop taking this as long as it makes me feel like I'm in my 20s again. No joke. It's less than $1 a day. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. I agree with you, Brock. And him.
5 hours of stick picking up.
I murdered myself yesterday in the yard. And I was bending over and pulling weeds. 5 hours. But you go on a trip and you come back in your yard after torrential downpours. Did it rain the whole week?
It seems like it. I would say at least twice, and then including yesterday was just
biblical.
Yes.
There's some biblical, like, whoop.
Yeah.
Murphy was upstairs hiding in the twins' room. I'm like, you're not supposed to be upstairs.
That's because he didn't have anyone.
Oh, shush. Oh, shush. Okay. He wouldn't let me anywhere near him.
You.
Oh, my gosh.
Tell me it didn't make a difference.
Hey, Astuto, too, says, we missed you last week. JD is a nice, calm voice, and we like listening to him in your audience. JD, Leah says, JD is very easy to listen to, has a calming voice, always love his biblical take, too. JD seems very flexible to work with and always has interesting information to share. I love him. That's great. I'm impressed, says Joma. I'm impressed with how he speaks on really sensitive issues in such a calm manner as my blood boils. And then Coast to Coast says, Wendy's so saucy that others seem dry. How you doing? How you doing? Ah, I hate this man. Fauci, God bless America.
4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell. Inspiring solutions to save America, one show at a time. Are you ready to get on board?
They believe that they can destroy this bond that exists between you and Trump if they somehow make Trump look bad, make Trump look like a reprobate, embarrass you about Trump. They can't do it because you came before Trump. Desperately want Trump gone, and I know that they desperately want it codified, that Trump cannot run again, because make no mistake, they remain scared to death of you, and they remain scared to death of Trump. Trump, 75 million, 80 million votes. And I'm going to tell you, you're not going anywhere. Even if Trump does, you're not. Which I think remains one of our big campaign strengths going forward. They can't separate you from Trump. And more importantly, they can't separate you from the ideas. They can't separate you from MAGA. They can't separate you from Make America Great Again.
From sea to shining sea, 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. The Wendy Bell Radio Program.
Hey!
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell Radio Program is live and on the clock. You know, I have shared personal stories about getting pregnant, having children. I've shared stories about being told by my OBGYN after my son, Jack, you know what? You should look into getting this shot. It's called Depo-Provera. It's fantastic. You don't have to take a contraceptive. It's good for X amount of months. Yeah, 11 years later, I didn't get pregnant, ladies and gentlemen, for 11 years after that. And I told you about this before I went on vacation. Like, I have a personal connection to pharma. I have a personal connection to pharma that mandated that my 5 sons got 82 freaking shots. We had 5. We weren't walking around with staggering degrees of autism and people on the spectrum. We didn't have allergies. We just didn't. And now we do. And anybody who's refusing to see a correlation, right? But the pregnancy thing, how do you do something that you know is going to hurt the world's baby makers? How do you do that? New York Post with this. Look, I'm sure you talked about it last week. I wasn't here. I want to. Because Tony Fauci was privately warned of the miscarriage risk linked to the COVID jabs. But in public, he was encouraging everybody and his brother, including the most precious people on earth, the baby makers. Get it? You got to get it. It's for the greater good. Everybody's doing it. It's going to protect you. It's going to protect your baby. Who wouldn't listen? A lot of people. Dr. Anthony Fauci privately raised concerns that the COVID-19 vaccine could theoretically be linked to miscarriages in expectant mothers, despite having publicly insisted that there were no red flags for pregnant women. I asked around a bit more, and another issue came up that you need to be aware of, wrote Fauci in a January 25th, 2021 text exchange with then Centers for Disease Control and Prevention Director Rochelle Walensky and Surgeon General Vivek Murthy. Since many people have significant cytokine storms and fever after the second dose, this theoretically could be associated with miscarriages in the first trimester, added the then National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases director. He freaking knew! And he sat on it! And there is no excuse for that. And there is no an apology for that. There is no, oh, sorry. Yeah, I wish I could take that one back. No, that is called diabolical. That's what that is. There's no other word for it. It's not an oversight. It's not hearsay. It's not like, well, there's a rumor. It's in his messages. In fact, we've got some audio to accompany this. Let's listen to Fauci in February of 2021, telling pregnant women, get it now. And a Fox News host calling the known dangers the biggest public health scandal in history. So this is like a two thing. So it starts with Fauci and then a recent new reaction by this Fox News guy. Listen.
Thus far, with thousands of women who are pregnant, having gotten the vaccine following the EUA, there have been no red flags of anything that anyone would be worried about. There are severe adverse outcomes for mother and baby during COVID-19 infection. Therefore, it is extremely important for pregnant women and women planning to get pregnant to get vaccinated.
This is the biggest public health scandal that we've ever seen in America. This is astonishing. And of course, there are now studies that are being legitimized that suggest that, in fact, these shots actually contributed significantly to miscarriages of people who got the shot and while pregnant.
No, not people, women. Women who wanted to have babies. You know, it's been 18 years since I had an infant. And if I close my eyes, I could tell you right now what my children smelled like as I held them in my arms. Like it was yesterday. And just like that, they knew for years. And they're still pushing this on people. That infuriates me. These text messages released and voicemail, text, and whatever messages released by Rand Paul and Ron Johnson were taken from more than 34,000 texts and 522 voicemails obtained by the Senate Homeland Security Committee from Fauci's government-issued cell phone. But it's so curious because apparently there were only 3 contacts listed in that phone. It's almost like he adopted the Hillary Clinton school of smash the hell out of the BlackBerry with a camera, with a hammer, wipe off your hard drive, right? Do whatever you've got to do. Destroy evidence. Delete this email once you get it. Let's listen to Fauci in December of 2021. Again, this is 9 months after he knew what was going on with pregnant women. Him finger-wagging tens of millions of people who wouldn't listen to his advice and get the vaccine. How dare he?
But if I were to pick out one thing that we as a nation are not doing optimally, it's the extraordinary situation where you have a highly effective vaccine that is very safe, and you have 50 million people in the country who refuse to get vaccinated, many of which are motivated purely by differences in political ideology, which is really unacceptable when you're in the middle of a deadly outbreak. If there ever was a time when you wanted the nation to focus on fighting the common enemy, and the common enemy is the virus, not ourselves, it is really extraordinary that we are having interference with public health principles for reasons that have nothing to do with public health.
The common enemy was Tony Fauci. That was the common enemy. So do you guys remember? Some of you do, because it was 5 years ago, and you've been with us that long. This is information we shared in 2021. 270 women monitored, pregnant women, after taking the jab. No data on 238 of them. Interesting study, right? Of the remaining 32, 23 suffered spontaneous abortion. 2 had premature births with neonatal death. 2 had premature births with intrauterine death. And 1 suffered a spontaneous abortion with neonatal death. There was 1 normal live birth. 5 women's results were outcome pending. We never got those. 1. So of 29 women where data was actually provided and then extrapolated for the world, it's safe, go get it, hurry, hurry, hurry. 29 women, 28 lost their babies, 96.5%. And I have the document that admits those results. I don't lie. Every shot was an abortion shot. As dangerous, as deadly as the abortion pill RU486, and they knew it. And I can say that with certainty from written testimony of OBGYN Dr. James Thorpe, which was submitted to the U.S. Senate Committee on Homeland Security. It's exactly what was testified to. Anthony Fauci's successor at NIH, Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, was on with Will Cain talking about pregnant women and the known dangers of the jab. And he says his computer notes, Fauci's notes, show how he was saying one thing privately and another thing to all of the pregnant women in the world. Oh, my.
The new text released from Dr. Fauci's phone seems to be a different message privately than what he was telling publicly about the vaccine and pregnant women.
I mean, I'm really glad that his words now can be heard by the American people. And I share your concern. I think that when you have a new product like the COVID vaccine was back then, you should be careful with pregnant women. And it's shocking to me that that he was sharing private thoughts, and that when he was out on public, and he was out in public a lot, he didn't share those private thoughts with the American public. I mean, to me, the big problem now is really how do you restore trust in public health? How do you restore trust in science? And, you know, that's what I've been working toward at the NIH, to really shift toward a transparent regime where there's scientific debate, scientific discussion, no debates off limits. I fully expect there to be people that disagree with me. And when I learn that I'm wrong, I'm going to tell the American public that I'm wrong.
But Dr. Fauci is science, and science can't be wrong. So God forbid, you know, if you've ever wanted to throat punch someone and throw him down the stairs, maybe make him your number 1 target. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, does a 500% increase in myocarditis sound reasonable to you? Well, we've got 2 of the largest COVID vaccine studies of 184 million people to share with you. But don't worry, because not all hope is lost if you're among them. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Isn't that a shame that you have to say that? Ivermectin, mebendazole, these things with CBD oil. You're going to hear from Nicholas Holscher. He's an epidemiologist with the McCullough Foundation. Again, McCullough, trusted. I believe him. Right? Think about all these frontline people that we've talked to. He, Simone Gold, Dr. Corey, all of these people. So maddening. I want to tell you about Wendy Loves Gold. I do love gold. I love silver too. I've gotten gold and silver from Texas Bullion Exchange. It really wasn't on my radar until they contacted me and they're like, hey, we love what you're doing. We like you, our MAGA conservatives. We love this country. We love our families. We want to protect them. And we don't want to put all of our eggs in the stock market. So we need to have some diversification. That is where gold and silver, platinum and palladium come in. And you're like, I don't even know how that works. You don't have to. I didn't. Right? 855-927-5557 or wendylovesgold.com. They're going to get in touch with you and they're going to walk you through it. It's not some hard sell. They're going to be like, hey, what are you thinking about? Do you want a gold-backed IRA? Do you want to possibly get 6% in free silver if you open one of those? Because we can do that for you. Do you want to get coins or bars or bricks of precious metal in your hot little hands? We can do that too. And all of this stuff is passable downable, pass downable. It's something that you can give to your children and to your grandchildren. What a wonderful investment. What great peace of mind. And what wonderful people to help you do it. I love them. They're such a joy to work with. They're our top #1 sponsor, Texas Bullion Exchange. I wouldn't buy from them if I didn't trust them, and I wouldn't encourage you to if I didn't. WendyLovesGold.com. Yeah, so we're going to talk about ivermectin and cancer, and we're going to open the door to that conversation. So if somebody in your world, or maybe even you, is fighting cancer, Leah, I know you can jump in here on the comment section. She's super plugged into a lot of this stuff. There's wonderful, not just promise, but like jaw-dropping benefit to taking that horse paste they work so hard to vilify. Right? And you know why they did. Because if there's another treatment, they couldn't have pushed the emergency use authorization to mandate the jabs. If there was anything that could possibly work, right, that was affordable, that was available, that was safe, and ivermectin was all of those things, then they couldn't get the jabs into the arms. And there goes the money. You know this because you've been following along just like we have. Oh, I used Sniper yesterday, by the way, not Sniper, Harmony. I was in the yard and I'm like, son of a mother. So I grabbed my organic pest control. I literally sprayed it all over myself. I wouldn't say you want to go on a date after you do that, right?
You mean the mosquito stuff?
Yes. Yeah, this is the organic pest control for your yard, but they have a mosquito spray. I sprayed it all over myself and I didn't no more. I was like, oh yeah. That is yes, it's Harmony. And it's a mosquito killer. Disinfectwithsniper.com. And remember, Sniper is 20% off this whole month, which is crazy. It's still going on. So disinfectwithsniper.com. I don't know what you're waiting for. See, I don't want to skip by Nick Holscher, but does it make sense to do Glidden instead? Or do you think I can do all three? Let's see.
I'll roll with it.
Wow. Thanks.
You got 2 seconds, so
Super
you're
duper. Thanks. Studies ever conducted. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. And they span 184 million people. Confirm the mRNA jabs are not safe for human use. That's not me saying it. You're going to hear Nicholas Holscher. He is an epidemiologist with the McCullough Foundation. And he says after the second dose, the occurrence of heart attack up 286%. Stroke up 240% after the first dose. Brain clots up 223%. Don't take my word for it. Listen to what he says.
I want to go over two massive studies that kind of just throw the whole safe and effective narrative out of the water. So the two largest COVID vaccine safety studies ever conducted. The first one's by Fuxova and colleagues. This had 99 million people in it. They found 500% increased risks of myocarditis, 300% increased risks of spinal cord inflammation, which can be permanently disabling. It can cause paralysis, and about 200.
It was transverse myelitis?
Yes, transverse myelitis. Yeah. And so we have all these things. Yeah. And then we have the second largest vaccine safety study ever conducted, which was published a few weeks ago. That had 85 million people in it and had a control group So it's about 40 million vaccinated, 40 million weren't. It was a meta-analysis. They found 300% increased risks of heart attack. They found 200% increased risks of arrhythmias. They found about 250% increased risks of stroke. And so now we have the largest population sizes ever studied that were vaccinated, and we find these massive risks.
You know, I'm sorry for the glitches there, the audio glitches, but I wanted you to hear that. Now, look, all hope is not lost, right? We're going to talk about treating this, right? But let's remember, there's no money in us being healthy. There is tons of cash if you get cancer. Chemo drugs are such big business. Spending in the U.S. by 2028 is expected to reach $180 billion. I want you to hear this gentleman. He's a naturopath. His name is Dr. Peter Glidden. And he talks about this relationship between profits and specifically cancer here in the United States. Listen to this.
There was a study that was published, I believe it was in 1994. It was a 12-year program, 12-year study. They looked at adults who had developed cancer as an adult, not childhood cancer, but adult cancer, right? And this is the main types of cancer that we get here in the United States. They did a meta-analysis of these people all around the world who developed cancer as adults for 12 years and were treated with chemo. And they looked at the results. And they published the results in the Journal of Clinical Oncology. And the results? 97% of the time, chemotherapy does not work. 97% of the time, it doesn't work. So why is it still used? It's one reason and one reason only: money. If you go to a medical doctor, an MD, with a sinus infection, and that doctor prescribes an antibiotic, he gets no financial kickback. Now, if he prescribes 5,000, of that antibiotic in 1 month, the drug company that makes it might send him to Cancun for a conference, right? But he gets no direct remuneration. It's not with chemotherapeutic drugs. It's different. Chemotherapeutic drugs are the only classification of drugs that the prescribing doctor gets a direct cut of.
I know that. And Dr. Glidden continues. So how does this chemo kickback process? No, we don't have it, not time. And the process is very intriguing. It all has to do with the cost and then the insurance company's coverage of it. And then there's a gap, and the gap goes to the doctor. Did you know that? Did not know that. Now I asked Grok, is this true? This is the AI tool for X. And this is what the response was. Glidden misrepresents a 2004 clinical oncology study, which estimated chemotherapy's contribution to 5-year adult cancer survival at about 2% in the US and the Australian data, not an overall 97% failure rate for the treatment. Well, if your 2% improvement is all you're getting from the chemotherapy, then what's the failure rate? Sounds pretty high. By the way, that video of Dr. Peter Glidden explaining that chemo drugs are the ways that some doctors make money? Yeah, that's from 10 years ago, you guys. This is nothing new. It's a machine. And they're cashing in on you. But wait a minute. When we come back, all hope is not lost. If you or someone you love has been diagnosed with cancer, ask yourself, why are America's top cancer centers 2 decades behind in this research? Oh my, next. 2 decades, 20 years we've known about this stuff. 20 years. Do you honestly believe that there's no cure for cancer? Really? Come on. Come on. They can go into caves and get bats and get their DNA and fiddle with that and create some splice in the furin cleavage site and inject stuff into that and then make that and put it out into virus and make everybody sick. But they can't find a cure for cancer. Really? Don't think so. Don't think so.
I'll go back to what I said to you this morning.
It's all about the money.
Here's some toxic stuff. To kill the toxic stuff in your body.
Yeah.
So which is killing you?
Well, then nobody knows.
Yeah.
Well, can you imagine how much worse it would be if he didn't take it?
That's
You can't disprove what hasn't happened.
Right.
Essentially. Which is interesting and sucky. And I despise. And you know what? Quite frankly, Jay Bhattacharya, I cut it out. But he said that Fauci has done a generation of harm. Like there is going to be a generation gap of trust in medicine and science because of what Fauci and company did. And he wasn't a lone rider on this. It's shocking.
No, he didn't do it alone.
No, he had help. And it's very disturbing. All right, let's see what we got. Ooh. Now that I'm back, I can order it. I actually asked for it. I did finally ask for it. MCT Wellness. So if you're drinking water right now, I don't know why you don't have a scoop of this in it. This is what Dr. Gundry, cardiothoracic surgeon, this is what he invented. He apparently had gotten pretty heavy. He needed to lose 70 plus pounds, he said. So he started doing some research and he identified this trigger, this mechanism in your body that operates kind of like a light switch. And if you drink this, it flips on that switch and your body starts dropping these calories that your body naturally holds on to just kind of as a safety mechanism. And then what happens? You don't get hungry as often. It works as a fantastic dietary supplement, meal supplement, right? Where you're not hungry, you're not being destroyed by cravings all day long, and you literally can skip a meal very comfortably and not worry about it. This is why Dr. Gundry lost 70 pounds. He says he's known thousands of people who've lost just as much weight, if not more. I was like, what? True. MCT Wellness, you can get it by going to the Healthy Fat. thehealthyfat.com/Wendy is what it is. It's what I drink and it's delicious. It comes in 3 flavors. It's one of those no-brainer things to do that is delicious and takes the edge off. And it does. I do not get hungry for 5 hours. That's pretty big, especially if you're trying to lose weight, trying to get away from the cravings. Thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. I'm still drinking the LTV stuff.
Losing weight it's funny. It's the most beneficial thing for you. If you listen to the pet show, that's what Dr. Mike always says. Before you do anything else, get your dog not to be fat.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the most beneficial, but the most frustrating thing to do.
To lose weight.
To lose weight.
Why? Just because you don't know what works, or some things work, or some things don't.
It's just you don't know if it works. It's the frustration comes from the mental aspect of you let yourself get here.
Oh, is that what it is?
I think so. And now it's not just.
So is it like a shame or a guilt?
I think it's a personal shame. It was for me, you know, and you get that whole mentality of, oh my God, I let myself get like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to the point where like, I literally need to change everything I do.
Oh yeah, and it's overwhelming.
And it's overwhelming.
And plus, you miss your best friend, little Debbie. Right?
I broke up with that bitch.
I broke up.
She was no good for me. It was an abusive relationship.
Abusive.
I thought Sarah Lee was better. She was the same. All the ladies are the same.
All the women want something specific out of you, Brock.
Yeah,
they're hunting you down, babe.
Yeah.
Eat me. Drink
Big Deb.
me. Big Deb. I love that. I love that. Ooh, Health Revolution. Okay, so have I told you, and I need to talk more about this with my son. So I've told you about Michael Toolsy, 26, got off of the family insurance, needs something. He's like, Mom, I don't have a lot of money. How am I going to afford to do this? And I was like, I'm going to give you the number for Health Revolution. 800-868-6187. I want you to call. I want you to input your information and wait for the call back. Got to call back. I had a very easy conversation with a gentleman at Health Revolution. And the gentleman told him, you know what? Why are you paying for this big coverage plan that has all this coverage you don't need? right? You have different needs. We're all different. We should not all have the same plan. So at Health Revolution, they let you decide what's important to you. What doctors do you want to go see? And oh, by the way, there's no copay. Hi, how you doing? How would you like to save 30 to 60% on your health insurance? That's Health Revolution. info.healthrevolution.net. Michael said he had a great time and it's going to cost a couple $100 a month. Thank you. Victory. Now we need to crack eggs. Peel some hard-boiled eggs.
And write checks.
And write checks. We'll figure it out. We never had to write a check before.
He never cracked an egg before.
Never peeled a hard-boiled egg. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. Holy moly, we're already at the halfway point of today's show. Now, I want to tell you, and I think a lot of people bury their head in the sand about this whole side effect thing with the jab. But you and I all know people who indiscriminately, with no family history, all of a sudden were diagnosed with terribly aggressive late-stage cancers. Unless we're all stupid, we can connect dots. We were told, no. Anybody who talked about that, cut off of social media. I mean, we asked questions and I was fired multiple times for asking questions or presenting data. Isn't that what scientific discovery is all about? It's not about absolutes. It's about sharing ideas. Well, and a huge idea is if there's something that's safe and effective, that's available right now at your fingertips, that could possibly prevent your cancer from growing or could even knock you into remission or cure you. And I'm not just talking cancer. How about neurological problems like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease? Yeah, well, we're getting that, you guys. And we had it 5 years ago. Ivermectin. It's not me saying it. Cancer researcher Dr. William Mackis, who, again, we featured on this program back as early as 2020, 2021, says he's treated 9,000 cancer patients using a cheap, effective, and safe protocol. You want to know what it is? Ivermectin, fembendazole, mebendazole, and CBD oil. And he has a study's remarkable results for cancer patients after taking that mix. Listen to this.
We just published the largest real-world study on the ivermectin and mebendazole for cancer. We had 200 cancer patients. We found 84.4% of them benefited in their cancer treatment. So half of them actually either their cancers disappeared reportedly and went away, no evidence of disease it's called, or the tumors shrank. It's called tumor regression. And again, that was about half. And then 36% the tumors stabilized, the cancer stabilized, it stopped spreading. So 84.4% of those individuals benefited.
That's Nicholas Holscher. My apologies. I said it was Dr. Mackis. That's Nicholas Holscher again, the epidemiologist with Dr. McCullough, talking about this study, remarkable results. And then Dr. Mackis takes the ball and he runs with it. He's like, look, I'm using ivermectin on people with serious neurological conditions. Look, anybody out there who's touched by Alzheimer's runs in my family, whose family is not touched by it. Anybody who has a loved one who has been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease and sees what happens to the body. You guys, 7.4 million Americans diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, 1 million dealing with Parkinson's. And Dr. Mackis says, I'm seeing results with ivermectin that pharma is really interested in you not knowing anything about. Listen.
Another area that very few people know about is ivermectin has effect on neurological conditions. And the ones that I've had the most success with have been Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease. And again, it's a very simple thing. I discovered it by accident. There was a mouse model of sort of Parkinsonism. And for Alzheimer's, you can't even find the research because it's been scrubbed from Google. So there's a study that was done, a preclinical study on ivermectin and Alzheimer's, where the researchers concluded that ivermectin has an effect on Alzheimer's and should be studied. It's been scrubbed from Google. If you go on DuckDuckGo, you can actually get the abstract of that study. But in Google, it's completely scrubbed. You just see the titles. It was done in the Middle East, and it's nowhere to be found. You can't get a PDF of the article, nothing. Completely scrubbed.
Now, why would that be? I'm going to go with because it works for $200, Alex, right? Why is it that we couldn't get it? Why is it that they had to demonize it? Why is it that the USPS and the FBI had to intercept our shipments during COVID? We were desperate for anything. And they called you foolish. You're not a horse. Don't take it. Dr. Makis continues sharing a remarkable story of a woman with Parkinson's. And you know how the body shakes with Parkinson's disease. After being treated with ivermectin, and the stories of Alzheimer's patients recognizing family members and having memories from years before that they hadn't had.
Parkinson's disease, I've used high doses of ivermectin, something like 60 milligrams, 72 milligrams, and these patients are responding. They have improvement in symptoms, improvement in movement. I have a patient who was barely mobile on maximum doses of standard treatment, who after a few weeks of high dose ivermectin started playing golf. And she hadn't been able to play golf for many years. And I've seen reversal in a number of Parkinson's disease patients. Now, Alzheimer's, this is where it gets really fascinating and really blew my mind. As patients sort of started asking me, could I use it for my 90-year-old father or mother and so on. And I said, look, start with a low dose. Let's see what happens, right? Because the older you are, you might have some side effects with ivermectin. There's, if you give too high of a dose to an older person, you might get a little bit of confusion, a little bit of instability on the feet. And so start with 12 milligrams. And these, the family members are trying. And some of these patients are recognizing family members after just a couple of doses. They're recognizing family members they haven't recognized in years. Their memories are coming back. So they start reminiscing. They remember things. Their cognitive ability starts to come back. Literally just 12 milligrams, 24 milligrams of ivermectin for a few days, 4 or 5 days. Just try it.
You guys ever watch somebody fight for their life? Do you know how much hope matters? Yes. They didn't even want you to hope. They made hoping illegal and confiscatable and demonizing. What? And then you have this president in Donald Trump who wants you to try whatever might work. One of the key platforms he had, the right to try, whether it's hallucinogenic things for people who come back from war with PTSD or traumatic brain injuries, or it's a new drug that's being tested. If your end stage disease has you dead in months, you'll try damn near anything. Give me hope. Give me something to hold on to. And this pharmaceutical science-based garbage, it's one way. Put something in your body. That's it. Dr. Makis says that something should be ivermectin, which we've known about. It's safe, it's affordable. And he says, so I encourage everybody, try what the top cancer centers in America refuse to give their patients.
And I tell people, just try, report back to me. And I had one patient who was actually taken off hospice because they were doing so well. It's just incredible. And people tell me, they get this precious time back with their loved ones. And especially with someone who's, been suffering from Alzheimer's for many years, you feel like you've lost your loved one, and then suddenly they're back. They say, my grandma's back. She's got her sense of humor back. Her memories are back. And this is literally with a couple of pills of ivermectin. Safe, zero risk. And the moments that the family gets back are so precious. You can't buy it. It's incredible.
Time. You know, that's what struck me this weekend, taking our last two sons to college, twins, to the University of Tennessee, and saying goodbye after 18 years. I haven't run out of time, but that time is over. Like every chapter of your book, each page turn. Time. Why wouldn't the top cancer centers in America want you to have that? Because there's no money in ivermectin. The patent for it has expired. Nobody can claim it as their own and use it and make it ungodly expensive. It's cheap. It's effective. It's how Uttar Pradesh in India escaped virtually unscathed with a 99.7% survival rate during COVID. And where was the population that got slammed the most? Right here in America with good old Dr. Fauci. This, however, from Dr. Makis, is the 20 seconds that Big Pharma really doesn't want you to hear.
And so I always say, give it a shot, just give it a try, just a little bit. Patients who are sort of bedridden, not responsive, suddenly the next day they're up and about, they're eating pudding. Like, it's just unbelievable stories. And I share all these stories on Twitter. I share them on Substack.
He's been trying to for years. And what did they do? They shut him down. They locked him out. They went for his medical license. They gunned for him. We can't have people talking about possible other therapeutics. Shut it down. You're not a horse. Don't eat horse paste. And then you got your morons like Chris Cuomo and Don Lemon and others parroting that because they are the enemies of the people. So I asked, what does cancer.com have to say about ivermectin, considering they won't touch it at the cancer centers? God forbid. We should do something that might work. This is what it says. Ivermectin is an FDA-approved antiparasitic drug. Preclinical lab and animal studies have shown some anti-tumor effects in certain cancer cell lines, but there is no high-quality clinical evidence from large randomized controlled trials that it is effective or safe as a cancer treatment in humans at these doses. Yeah, there are trials, folks. They just don't want you to know about them. They don't want to look into them. It's sort of like all of the January 6 cases. We don't want to see what's right in front of us. So if we just ignore it, it didn't happen. I don't know about you guys. I don't operate that way. From medical malpractice now to an uncertifiable election. We got to shift, guys. The 2020 election, the fraud numbers are absolutely staggering. And we're going to zero in on one state, Georgia, next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. He's got one here. And I went long on this segment. I still don't know how to time the show out. I put in way too much stuff. But this is what he writes. This is from Dr. Makis, new article. Ivermectin, fenbendazole, mebendazole, and CBD testimonial. 52-year-old Illinois man with stage 4 lung cancer, metastatic to brain and bones. So it's spread all over this dude's body, right? Reports after 6 months on ivermectin and fenbendazole, mebendazole, and CBD oil. Incredible improvement. Cancer centers like the Mayo Clinic or MD Anderson are now 2 decades behind the most cutting-edge cancer research. It's honestly embarrassing. Some cancer patients are now improving with next generation of repurposed drug protocols. For example, the triple therapy that's ivermectin, fenbendazole, mebendazole. And this guy, 52-year-old Illinois man, metastatic. In December, he did this and that. Results after 6 months, his tumors were shrinking. Oncologist is pleased with progress. Tumor burden has decreased. No areas of progression. This guy's tumor. His tumors are shrinking. Hope. Hope. I don't know how much time he gets, but is an extra hour worth it to you? It is to me. An extra month. An extra. An extra kiss. Okay, I got to tell you about the slushy machine. It came while I was on vacation. Oh, my goodness. Chef IQ. You know, most frozen drink makers either cost a ton or they feel like cheap seasonal little trinkets, gadgets, right? But the Chef Man Slush Ease Max, right? It's like the Obliterator 8000. Delivers premium frozen drink performance without the premium price tag. How great is this? Let me tell you what it does. Makes premium frozen drinks at home without that price. Commercial style slushies from your own countertop. Built-in freezing system means you don't have to have ice. No ice required. Love that. Makes slushies, frozen cocktails, frappes, milkshakes, smoothies, and more. Large 90-ounce capacities, perfect for families, parties, or entertaining. Built for year-round use, not just a novelty appliance you use once or twice. And you can skip the expensive frozen drink shops and make your favorites at home. That's huge, right? So if you've been thinking about getting a frozen drink machine, you got to try Chef IQ. I love these people. Visit Chefman, chefman.com. Use promo code Wendy, 25% off. Chefman Slush Ease Max, chefman.com, promo code Wendy. I told Brock I got it. He's like, oh, margarita party on the back deck. I was like, wow, that escalated quickly.
No, it didn't. What else are you going to do? Like, that's the obvious choice.
Oh gosh. Ryan and the kids love milkshakes and slushies, so I'm super excited. I kind of feel like I need to bring it in here though.
Do you want the show to run right?
So I have to bring it in? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Oh.
Wow.
What?
Wow. I'll be hammered.
I didn't say we're gonna have margaritas.
What?
I said we could make slushies or milkshakes.
Or margaritas.
Oh, margaritas. You already sound drunk. You just slurred that. He's like, or margaritas. Too soon. Sorry. So damn predictable, isn't it, people? So predictable.
Party at Wendy's.
Party at Wendy's. Look at that. We've climbed up 3,600. Let's go. Thank you. Well, here on the Wendy Bell radio program, we are not afraid at all of hard pivots. We're going to take a sharp detour. Look, I want to tell you too, everything I talk about on this show, you can access. We make our entire rundown, all of the links, all of the audio sound bites. What a programming risk, because we make it available to you like 4 hours before the show. Go to locals.com and plug in Wendy Bell Radio and you can get it. We charge like $5 a month, but we give you 2 months free. Hey, we got to do something, right? I want to talk about this now, okay? There's no way, if you're living in Realville, that you believe the 2020 election was either safe or secure. It was so obnoxious, the election fraud. They won't look at it the same way they won't do studies on ivermectin because they know damn well what the answer is. I want to look at Georgia's 2020 election fraud report with you for a moment, which has uncovered fraud that was never investigated by Georgia's Secretary of State's office. Who is that guy again? Oh, that's right, Brad Raffensperger. Huh, so weird. Wasn't he a Republican? Right, yes, he was. This is what the Georgia 2020 election fraud report has found. So they studied all of this stuff, all right? 1.7 million missing ballot images. What could go wrong with that? 300,000 extra ballots counted. Fulton County alone was missing 374,000 ballot images. By law, by the way, you're supposed to maintain those for at least 22 months. Yeah, not them. Fulton County also missing authentication files. 315,000 votes were certified. 148 missing tabulator tapes. Why are things missing? Huh. Because they cheated. Duh. right? Fulton County recount, missing 17,724 ballot images. Fulton County counted 3,125 ballots twice. Fulton County also overcounted 37,300 votes. Vote counts don't match the precinct level counts. There's ballot stuffing. Votes were changed, ignored, not counted, deleted. Georgia was 100% uncertifiable, which is why we had January 6th. Why did people go to the Capitol? They wanted to overthrow the government. No, they didn't. Those people wanted to see their government do the right thing. They wanted to see their elected leaders do what the Constitution demands. Listen to us, we the people, when we need to be heard. And that wasn't happening, so they had to create smokescreen. And that was the insurrection. You're plugged into this. Did you hear what happened here in Allegheny County where I live, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania? In the land before time, tens of thousands of fraudulent voters in Allegheny County, after poring over the non-juror list and cross-referencing them with the county's voter rolls, Scott discovered 4,356 non-citizens, 1,300 people with a language barrier, and 20,658 non-residents. Oh, voting? Possibly. Listen.
Hey everybody, this is Scott Pressler and Aaron Coper. We're here in downtown Pittsburgh inspecting the non-juror rolls. These are people that have been disqualified from serving on juries for one reason or another, and one of those is non-citizenship. Now, I'll remind you kindly that the executive director of the Elections Bureau here in this county said that they do not verify citizenship. And so our intent is simply to make sure that only lawful, eligible American citizens are voting in our elections. And so, Aaron, they weren't letting us make copies, right? Correct. They weren't letting us do digital. Nope. They were forcing us to hand write. And sure enough, we did on notepads. You were writing, I'm writing. And we just want you to know that this is just about transparency and accountability. We are the watchdogs here in Allegheny County. And isn't it fair to say that this work is really trying to stop disenfranchisement of voters? Absolutely. That we're fighting to make sure minority voices are heard, absolutely, women's voices are heard, union workers, truckers. And so just know that it is our intent to only ensure that lawful American eligible citizens are voting here in our beautiful Commonwealth. And Aaron Colber is going to continue fighting for you, and I'm going to continue fighting for you. Game on.
Who's this Aaron Coper? Well, she's a Republican who ran for Pittsburgh City Council last year, but lost. Did you guys know that Pittsburgh City Council has not had a Republican member in roughly a century? All 9, always Democrats. How's that working for you, Pittsburgh? Well, I can tell you, it ain't. Scott Pressler has found more than 250,000, 1/4, 250,000 illegal voters registered to vote just in 4 states: Pennsylvania, Nevada, New Jersey, and California. No wonder 29 Democrat states don't want to hand over their voter rolls, because we would be able to tell for sure that they cheat, that they have to cheat, that they rely on the cheat, and they will stop at nothing to keep the cheat alive. Well, the good news, you and I both know, the safest election ever was actually a hot mess, and they got caught. The mother of all vote swapping charts, next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. We're going to make it really hard for you to be able to cross-reference anything. So by hand, you're going to write down 30,000 people's names. Really? They sure work hard at keeping you out of the loop, don't they? They work hard keeping you from finding cures. They work hard keeping you from expanding your family, buying the kind of freaking car you want to buy, living the life that you want to live. That's what I think to that. Other than that, I got nothing. How's everybody? I'm like 4 pages off here, so I just was rolling with it. And some of the stuff I got into with the data is worth the $5 a month. I'm just going to say it's worth it. And then, it's risky because anybody could rip off, any radio host could rip off what we're doing and just copy it. But they're not fabulous, so it would be hard to sell. I know. Too soon? Let me tell you, GLP-1 Gold from Juvenon. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. Remember, we get 30% off everything in the Juvenon store, which is beneficial because it's awesome. So there's a product called GLP-1 Gold. It does not contain GLP-1 hormone. It doesn't do, that's not what it is. It just wakes up a part of your body and shuts down that part of your brain that's ravenous and is trying to tell you to eat Skittles, right? That's me. Can you believe that Brock tried to give me Skittles before I went away on vacation? Isn't that rude? Really? Anyway, I noticed, and I started taking it, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. No late night snacking on vacation. How about that? One time I had a bowl of ice cream, but it was more of a tradition thing because we have to go to this place and get it, the frozen moo. That was it. I wasn't eating chips. I didn't snack. I ate something small in the morning and had something for dinner, and that was that. I went away for a week. I didn't gain any weight. I didn't eat like garbage, and I normally do on vacation, just to be perfectly honest with you. GLP-1 Gold from bloodflow7.com/Wendy, 30% off. Again, less than $1 a day to shut down those cravings and to make your hunger pains go away. It's a great supplement. I love what they're doing, and I specifically started taking it to hopefully stop the late night eating, and it's worked famously for me. I recommend it, but then again, I'm biased. I told you that. I like what I like. This next story, it's going to tick you off. It's a lot of annoying data like numbers, but I posted a video from January 6th of 2021. That was the day of the insurrection, right? Did you guys see it on X? I posted the board, and it was all about the election results in Allegheny County. It's like, how do you have more people voting than there are registered to vote? Like, they don't even care anymore. They stopped caring 100%. It doesn't matter. They're like, whatever. We're not going to share our information with you, or we're just going to destroy the tabulator tapes. Or we're going to do this, or we're going to do that. But Tina Peters should go to prison for 9 years for exposing it. Got it.
So while you were gone, people asked about the lighter.
Yes.
The Zippo we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have a picture to show you guys then.
Oh.
I do now.
Oh, that's neat. So I love that.
That's what they're going to look like. So hopefully we'll have these and the Burn in Hell anti-Fauci candles at the end of the month.
They will not look like this.
No, they'll be a little different.
Thanks to George again.
And we will have, I already received the Second Amendment commemorative gifts. So they're ready to, we're just going to launch it all at the same time to make it easiest on Lindsay, who, let me give you an update.
Oh, yep.
The Wendy Bell Radio cat.
Oh, yes. Greta
goes in tomorrow for her surgery.
Okay. All right. So we'll have to think about that. I'll send her a text tomorrow. I'm sure she's nervous. Not Greta.
Best possible hands.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You get, oh gosh, I've got little sharks all over the place. I'm a hot mess today, guys. It's going to be a few days. Sorry.
Yeah. Now I'm going to have to adjust. I'm going to have to race home after work.
Why?
Sandra's back in my game.
Oh, for heaven's sakes. The Simkovich Concussion Institute, you just feel like you've been hitting your head against the wall listening to Brock talk about this broad. But it's true. Dr. Simkovich is phenomenal. He's such a great guy. Dr. Charles Simkovich and his wife, Stacy, who met him when she was a patient being treated by him. I never knew you treated a concussion or a traumatic brain injury with your fingers in somebody's mouth. And he moves his fingers around your mouth and your soft palate. He moves things in your neck and feels things that are out of shape. When Brock was there getting an evaluation, Dr. Simkovich pushed on a place that he knew he could tell before he even touched it was going to be sore. And Brock, who's not one to complain, was like, yeah, it's a little tender there. And he was on it like white on rice. And Dr. Simkovich has been doing this for decades, and he will fix you, and he will fix you quickly, right? I don't care where you live. He's in Pittsburgh. You've got to get in touch with them. 412-366-3700. 412-366-3700. Do not suffer needlessly. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. They have all of the information you need to know there. They're just wonderful people and truly are healers. They really want you to be healed. I love that. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. Make the trip. People fly all over the country to the land before time just for Dr. Simkovich. And I get it.
Just remember, you can light your, the man has a great idea, light your burn in hell Anthony Fauci candle with your Wendy Bell radio zip.
She's a smart one.
Well.
Wow. Really? Is this show going fast? I didn't know.
Four, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family.
The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you.
It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it.
Donald Trump has been indicted by a grand jury in New York for his alleged hush money payment.
A grand jury indicted former President Donald Trump on state charges stemming from his efforts to overturn Joe Biden's victory.
Breaking news, the federal indictment against Donald Trump, all related to his handling of classified documents after leaving office.
But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
And they're not taking this White House. We're going to fight like hell, I'll tell you right now.
It's about how much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
You know, I can't help but think as all this Fauci stuff is coming out, I just keep thinking, okay, now do 2020. If we're all going to be telling the truth now, if it's now okay to tell the truth, let's tell the truth about that because it's such an insult to anybody with common sense. Welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program is live. So good to be with you. Really so good to be with you. I mean, think about all of the things that are just so preposterous that they try to shove down your throat and package in some digestible way and expect you to just walk away and be like, okay, that makes sense. And it doesn't make sense. Nothing makes sense. Starting with, there's no way 81 million people would ever vote for Joe Biden, right? There's no way. It's so unbelievable. It's so preposterously unbelievable. And this is why you need the media to run interference for you. This is why they needed the insurrection. They needed that smokescreen to throw you off their game. And what ensued? 2 years of persecutions. And prosecutions of what? 1,500, 2,000 January 6ers? Were there bad actors in that crowd? Probably. Were there things that shouldn't have happened? Absolutely. Were there undercover FBI agents in the crowd making it a mess? Abso-freaking-lutely. Anybody with a brain knows this. Therefore, we need to talk seriously about 2020. We're not going to be able to reverse what happened. We're not going to get Trump in on that term. We're not going to reverse what Biden and Obama, the puppet master, what they did to this country. But I, for one, believe that part of being a part of making America great again, being MAGA, is doing whatever we can to unwind the damage, to fix it, and to foolproof the system so that it can't freaking happen again. There's no way 2020 was anything but an absolute disaster. It was a stolen election. And you know this. But now we've got these, it really is the mother of all vote swapping charts. And this is from the New York Times Edison Research election data. It was collected that showed a total of over 3,469,261 Trump votes switched or deleted from the 2020 election from Dominion and ES&S election machines. Almost 3.5 million votes, guys. Now, they tell us that Joe Biden won 81 million votes, preposterous, and that Trump got 74 or 77 or whatever it was. I think it was like 74. They want us to believe that not only did the old guy, who was a feeble-minded mental midget to begin with, corrupt his stones with China and Kazakhstan and, Ukraine and Russia and all of them, that 7 million more people preferred that dude who didn't campaign during COVID to Donald Trump, who was making America great again in his first term, period. So we're going to go over this data, okay? Did you know the Dominion software, it was new leading into 2020. It was rolled out in 2020. It was used in 28 states, okay? Other states use different software, different programs. 27 of the 28 states that used Dominion's new software saw vote switches. In what world, in a live election, when votes are coming in, would somebody's tally go down? It wouldn't, but it did in 27 states. I mean, wow, what a coincidence, right? So let's go over this. Pennsylvania, where I live, there were 220,883 votes that were switched from Donald Trump to Joe Biden. This happened in the middle of the night. I'd gone to bed. Trump seemed to have the victory in hand. He was up by 600,000 in Pennsylvania. I woke up and was like, what? Well, that's because 220,883 votes were switched. And then, oh, wait a minute, 941,248 were lost, meaning there's no ballot image of them, no record of them existing, but they did exist on election night. It's almost like those voters were used and then poof, away they went. Well, where did those people go? You guys realize, of course, Joe Biden allegedly won Pennsylvania by a margin of 80,555 votes. Donald Trump won Pennsylvania, period. You've got 1.1 million votes either lost or switched from Trump to Biden in a state that Joe Biden won by 80,000 votes, please. New Jersey, they switched 80,242 Trump votes to Biden. Florida, they switched 21,000 votes to Biden. Michigan, 20,000. And then they lost another 21,000 votes. How does that happen on Dominion machines? It's so coincidental. I mean, I know these things are just all adding up. It's not like we can connect any dots. Let's continue. New York, they switched 18,000 votes from Trump to Biden and lost 623,000. What? And then there's Georgia. We just talked a little bit about Georgia in the break leading into this segment. They switched 17,000 Dominion machines, switched 17,407 votes from President Trump to Joe Biden and lost 33,574 votes. Images, proof of those votes, of those people. The Biden margin of victory in Georgia was 11,779. President Trump also won Georgia, period. This is why he called Brian Kemp. This is why he called Brad Raffensperger. Brad Raffensperger, who didn't do a damn thing as Secretary of State as an alleged Republican because he knew what was going on. Dude was in on it, period. Ohio switched 14,000 votes. Here's Virginia. You ready for this one? Virginia saw 12,163 votes be switched from Donald Trump to Joe Biden on election night 2020. And they lost 789,023 votes. Biden's margin of victory was 451,000. Trump won Virginia as well. We could keep going on. In Illinois, they lost more votes than the population of Wheaton, Illinois, 55,000. In Minnesota, they lost 195,000 votes. That's roughly half the size of Minneapolis. But no, safe and secure. There's nothing to look at here. And how dare you talk about Dominion? We'll sue you. Remember how they did that? I do. Fox News does. Newsmax does. If you just take 3 states, Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Georgia, there are 48 electoral votes among those 3 states. Trump allegedly lost those states. We can prove to you that he won here, right? In that election, we were told that Trump lost to Joe Biden by 74 electoral college votes. You take Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Georgia at 64% of that margin. 64% from 3 states. It wouldn't take a whole lot, ladies and gentlemen. So then I started doing something a little bit different. I looked at Joe Biden's total popular vote victory over Donald Trump in 2020. It was 7 million votes, 7,059,000 and change. Do you believe that? Hell no. Of course you don't. 7 million. Joe Biden received 81 million votes. Trump received 74 million. If you take away the 3.5 million votes taken from Trump and given to Biden, or those that were lost, Joe Biden's margin, he goes down to 77 million. You add those 3.5 million to Trump, and he goes up to 77 million. Those 3 states, if done accurately, alone, took Joe Biden's margin of victory from 7 million down to 121,000. Joe Biden didn't win that election. Not by a long shot. They know that. You know that. And the media will never touch it. We will. And so then the question becomes, who is the enemy of the people? Is it the swamp? Is it the deep state? Is it the socialists? Is it the communists? Is it people like Fauci? Or is it a system that the media is used to run interference and cover for a narrative, and that there are far too many people who still believe it? That's my question. It'll all come out. It already has. It's right here. We will talk about what they won't. You are owed at least that much. I have a question for you. Why are a staggering 37 million adults in America now disabled? This is a new all-time high, a new, like, earth-shattering record. What is behind it? Oh, I don't know. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
Is your countdown clock working?
It is. God bless you.
That's not me.
That's my boyfriend.
That's Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Engineer Jason's on it.
Engineer Jason. You know what I did not take? Stupidly, because it's easy to pack when I went away. My REM sleep. So last night I knew I was going to have a bad night's sleep. I was mentally twisted just from the weekend. New schedule. Worried, am I going to wake up in time? Do I have enough? Oh my gosh, we're on these new radio stations. I want to make a good impression. I was stressed out. I knew I was going to get a garbage night's sleep. The thing I like about Healthy Cell's REM sleep, healthycell.com/Wendy. First of all, it's delicious. It's a microgel. So you squeeze it in your mouth. It's like applesauce, and you swallow it down, and like, boom, it's more absorbed down to the cellular level. Healthy Cell. That's what it does, right? The REM sleep, it's not just about helping you fall asleep. I can zonk out anywhere. It's about waking up, regardless of how much sleep you got, and not feeling like a truck hit you. That's how I felt today. though I probably only got 3.5 hours of sleep. I woke up and I was ready to go. I wasn't like, I wasn't groggy. I wasn't foggy. I wasn't hazy. REM sleep. There's whatever secret sauce is in there allows you to wake up and be productive regardless of that sleep. The number. healthycell.com/Wendy. It's pretty awesome. And I did not take it on vacation, and I tossed and turned a lot. I'll be honest with you. I tossed and turned
you
a
were
lot.
sleeping on your non-ghost bed.
The mattress sucked. And the room we were in is just warm. So you're like, air. What is this place? This is a scary, little scary Substack. I want to grab you.
Will pick back up.
Oh, it's day one.
We need to get the Rumbles up, and I blame. There's 4,000 of you.
You guys look
4,500 here.
Right, and look.
This is going to be adjusted.
X hasn't found us yet. It is. It's going to take time. But we're back to almost the sweet spot. We're 500 away, maybe, from where we were when we moved. We were getting 10,000 before in the 9 o'clock spot. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Time.
And you know what? Quite frankly, Rumble's going to have to figure out where we are in their priority chain. You know, I guess you were saying that there was some Candace Owens discussion on Friday.
On Friday, yeah.
About
that just killed
Charlie Kirk
every other creator.
And all they had on the homepage was in the boxes was that. Well, if that's not what you're interested in, you're not going to get other in-your-face content.
Right.
And I don't think that necessarily suits anybody, but it's their sandbox. Right? Sort of like Newsmax. I'm like, I disagree with you entirely, but I don't write the checks. So, okay. I'd love to go back to some of my closing monologues over the last 4 years on that show and see how many I've pushed the envelope on a hell of a lot of those, Brock. But I wasn't wrong. We weren't wrong. No. I'm like, we should be allowed to talk about stuff. And you should be able to on a conservative network. But
new time is 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Which is an unusual time slot. I freely admit it's unusual. Whatever. I'm delighted. I'm just delighted to be with you guys. Thanks.
She missed me.
I did. I missed all of you. And it's sort of like the actuarial evidence about mortality during the COVID vaccine that we talked about in 2021 and 2022. Remember that from Indianapolis? There was this huge uptick in deaths between the ages of 18 and 64. And you're like, wait a minute, what? And of course, if you don't talk about it, that didn't happen. Well, we talked about it because we need to talk about it. One of the big collators, if you will, of information is this gentleman named Ed Dowd. And he does such great numbers crunching. And he writes this about this U.S. all-time high. 37 million people reported being disabled last year here in America. This is up 23% since February of 2021. Whatever could it be, you guys? I know I'm lost. Let's go. The latest Bureau of Labor Statistics data is out, and the number of Americans ages 16 and over reporting a disability has hit a new all-time high of roughly 37 million. As of July 2026, the current population survey sits at 37,029,000. It's not a rounding error or a seasonal blip. It's the continuation of a trend that broke higher more than 5 years ago and has refused to mean revert, hasn't gone back down. I've been tracking the series, he writes, since early in the COVID era. The charts have been public for years on the finance technology sites and in repeated threads on X. Again, this is where we're going to share information because you know the media won't cover it. Month after month, the total population with a disability grinds higher. From the pre-2020 plateau into early 2021, the numbers were relatively stable. And then something changed. February 2021 marks the clear inflection. The rate of increase shifted to a new, steeper trajectory, a 3 to 4 sigma departure from the prior trend, which, if you know numbers, is monstrous. In the years since, the survey has added 7 million people. Growth of that magnitude in a mature population is not normal aging. It's not long COVID in isolation. It's not some gradual sociological shift. It was sudden and it has persisted. And it continues to be treated as background noise by the same public health authorities who spent years obsessed with every other metric. He says, let me address the predictable objections because they surface every time these numbers are posted. First, it's just fraud. People are gaming disability benefits. That claim collapses under basic scrutiny of the data source. It's not Social Security disability insurance claims. It's not SSDI awards, which lag and require medical determinations. This is the current population survey, the same monthly household survey that produces the unemployment rate and the labor force participation numbers. Roughly 60,000 households are contacted each month. 6 simple questions are asked about serious difficulty hearing, seeing, concentrating, remembering, making decisions, walking or climbing stairs, dressing or bathing, and doing errands alone. Any yes classifies the person as having a disability for statistical purposes. These economic implications of this, they're not abstract. More than 37 million people reporting disability means a permanently larger share of the population facing barriers to full participation. Labor force participation among the disabled remains far lower than those without a disability, right? And what happened? He says they've posted the charts for years, total population 16 plus, the civilian labor force subset, all of this stuff. A 3 to 4 sigma shift in trend isn't something that serious analysts discard. The February 2021 inflection remains the defining feature. It is the kind of signal that in any other domain, markets, epidemiology, engineering would trigger immediate forensic review. Health authorities have chosen another path. The data continues to accumulate. The total population survey keeps printing higher numbers. The questions asked of households have not changed. The methodology is the same one used for the official employment statistics that move markets every month. Yet the disability series is treated as an inconvenience rather than a red flag. The July 2026 print at 37 million is simply the latest confirmation. The trend that began in February 2021 has not been explained by health authorities. It's not been investigated with appropriate rigor, and it's not been reversed. And until that changes, the data will keep speaking, whether anyone in authority cares to listen or not. Staggering. And all along this, he dances on the outside of the fire. He does not say, these are people who were injured by the jab. He takes the horse to water and says, here it is. Drink from this and use your common sense. And isn't it just a kick in the pants that the FDA just came out approving an mRNA flu shot for the first time ever? Wouldn't you know, pharma is super excited. I think we've got it this time. Hurry up. While supplies last, we'll be in the back making more. Hell no. Look, you do you. But we've been paying attention to this for far too long. I don't trust any of these people. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, isn't it interesting how the left always loves illegals more than they love America? Well, they know that they'll lose election after election without them, right? Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
Jason made you a happy woman.
It's
so stupid, but it's so
nice. It is.
It's such a little thing.
It is so
it
nice.
Makes a huge difference.
It does make a huge difference. All right, let's see what they're doing here. Sniper. I think I got it all, Brock, but I don't know. You go through your hot little head there.
I have it in the wrong pocket.
It was just out. And I can't get it back in. Oh. Do you guys remember that? How many of you remember that story when we talked to you about it? It was Indianapolis, and there was some guy who was like an insurance guy, adjuster, or whatever the hell he was. And he's like, why are so many healthy working age people dying? See, and the problem is there's nowhere mainstream to go to find information. What Dr. Mack has said they did with the results of the ivermectin, mebendazole, is they take these studies and they memory hole them. They scrub them from the internet. There's no indication that that study ever existed. There's no proof that what people are saying is going on is going on. So whom do you trust? Who's more dangerous, your president or the media that hides everything that the president is doing from you? I find it very difficult. All of the stories today, I find very annoying. How about you guys? Brrr, now it's cold in here.
A lot of stress this weekend. You had your stress. I had mine
What was your stress?
today.
Oh.
Like last week and this weekend, worrying about this radio stupid stuff, making sure the stations knew, make sure they had all the information they needed, making sure logs were right, and just making sure everything. It seems like just saying we moved from 10 to 1. But there's like all this backdoor stuff that you have to worry about. And you always feel like you're bothering people. Like I'm texting Jason yesterday. I'm like, hey, just wondering,
Like, I need help.
And he's like, I'll take care. I'm on it.
Don't you, and how big a deal is that when you can count on somebody who's like, I got it.
Right.
I'm on it. And you're like, I trust that person.
Yeah, I didn't need a text to tell me it was done.
There are some people that you're like, I don't trust that. I know that's not something that is believable. And not a terrible thing to say about somebody, but it's true.
Especially when you work with people. Like I'm dependent on him, which is my fault. I'm going to have to go in and learn how to do all of this just so I can troubleshoot. It's just 99% of the time it just works,
Except when it doesn't. And then you're
that's
like,
when all
fudgesicles.
Hits the fan.
Are you texting Sandy?
What? Like, I wish I had her number. I'd tell her to wear more baby blue.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
You like her eyes.
She has beautiful eyes.
Very beautiful eyes.
Beautiful eyes. And she brings me the news I need. That's why I watch.
Is that right?
Yeah. I can trust where she's coming from.
She brings me the news I need. I trust none of them.
Neither do I.
Yeah, so I'm not.
But at least she looks pretty while reading it. I like that I love when she has Charles Payne on.
Well, she's a big finance
because
person.
she's a finance person, and listen to them go back and forth.
Yeah.
There are certain segments she could have him on once a day, and I'd be like,
yeah, he was great to get on the show.
Yeah. He's one of my faves.
I try to think about who I would want to have on if we had a guest, like somebody that I would be super geeked to present to you. Because we used to have a lot more. I mean, we've had McCullough on, we had all of these doctors on.
When these guys were getting deplatformed.
Pierre Corey, after he testified before the Senate, we were like, hello. And these people, Simone Gold, they got that one African woman. I forget who she was. She's big in the frontline stuff. Like just trying to do the right thing. And they create this frontline alliance now, at least that out of COVID and all this jazz that gave us people and protocols. They were doing things on their own to try to help their patients. Meanwhile, Dr. Fauci didn't treat a single patient. No. He didn't know jack shit about it, right? He's not there on a ventilator with remdesivir or run death is near, right? But he's like, you should totally get that. It makes great sense. Remember how people wouldn't
back. And I like Sandy for her brain.
Mm-hmm.
Don't start rumors.
You're allowed to fantasize over whatever you want.
Wow. You make that sound dirty.
Stretch the final half hour of the Wendy Bell radio program always starts with a little Africa from Toto. It's great to be with you here on the show. So I have a question, and I want to be fair, even though I'm extraordinarily biased. Okay, I have great disdain for bad people. I have very little tolerance of people who would trade you, or anybody for that matter, your health, your wellness, your family, your future, your finances, anything for their own benefit. I would not. And I have a very low threshold for that. Why is it that the Democratic Party is on the wrong side of everything? Literally on the wrong side of everything. They're on the wrong side of money. They're on the wrong side of education. They're on the wrong side of the border. They're on the wrong side of every single possible measure. But when they go actively against America in favor of illegal aliens who shouldn't be here anyway, because obviously we know they need the votes, it really pisses me off. I'm just going to say that, okay? And this is one of those stories. Did you hear about the Democrats' plans to obstruct the president's deportation agenda? Here's a question. How do you get rid of 20 million people who came to this country in 4 years? Now, the number is all over the place. I've heard 8 million. I've heard 11 million. I've heard the president quoted as high as 20 million. I'm inclined to believe the president. How do you get rid of 20 million people? Well, what did they do on day one? They shut the border, and then they sent out that CBP app. It was called the CBP One app, and they changed it to the CBP Home app. And they said, look, you're an illegal alien. Get out of our country. We're going to make it easy for you. We're going to give you $1,000 spending money. Maybe it was $2,000, whatever it was. We're going to take you free flight wherever it is that you want to go. We will return you free of charge to your home, and we'll give you some spending money. And what? 1.5, 2 million people took them up on that. And now we've got ICE, which again, Democrats are resisting. Why? I'll never understand. ICE going into our neighborhoods, and priority number one, finding the gangs, the cartels, the traffickers, the pedophiles, the wife beaters, round up these criminal illegals and get them the hell out of here. And then you've got somebody like Senator Van Hollen who flew to El Salvador to have margaritas with one of them, right? That's your Democratic Party. Make it make sense. But this, to literally in a 12-year-old girl style, we're gonna do these petty little games that are destructive for America, that waste time and money, all because we hate Donald Trump. It is diagnosable. The TDS, it is diagnosable. It is an affliction. It does take people and turn them into just unrecognizable figments of their former selves. I got to read this to you, though. Breitbart.com. Democrats swamp state legislatures, the 250 pro-migrant bills to obstruct Trump's deportation mandate. Look, any young person out there, if you're out there and you're like my kids, all 5 of them are Generation Z, and you're lamenting the fact that you can't buy a house, mortgage rates are too high. There's no available units. Everything is too expensive. I can't do this. I can't do that, right? Can't find a job. Well, when you bring in 20 million people, they're going to squeeze the supply and everything's going to get jacked up. Trump ran on deportation, closing the border. We voted for that. He won on that measure without equivocation. Democrats want that to stop. They want these illegals in your neighborhood. They want them on the welfare rolls. They want them getting SNAP assistance. They want them voting for Democrats in our elections. That's not American. That's gross. Democrats in blue states across the country, in fact, have swamped their legislatures with an avalanche of nearly 250 pro-migrant bills to thwart President Donald Trump's immigration and deportation policies. Oh, super duper, you must be so proud. No wonder liberal chicks are such miserable people. A review by the left-wing State Futures Organization discovered 242 pieces of legislation in 32 states, of which about a fifth have already passed. Right? They're not trying to make life better for our children. They're not going out there and innovating. They're not entrepreneurs. They're not thinking outside the box. They're not like, hey, why don't we fix this problem? Why don't we do something that's good for everybody? They're like, rah, 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 knives out. Donald Trump, whatever it takes, screw him, even if it ruins our country. It'll be worth it. The bills have been enthusiastically supported by state Democrats, but many have been opposed by legal action by the federal government. In some blue states, though, some of the measures have even been vetoed by Democrat governors who fear the measures go too far. I'm going to go with Renee Good and Alex Preddy are measures that went too far, right? You're deporting people, dangerous, criminal, illegal aliens. How dare you? You're dead. Sorry. Bad decision. Thank George Floyd. The Progressive Organization noted that 53 bills have now been passed in 17 states aimed at putting curbs on federal immigration actions and policies. You know, this is why I wanted to start today's program. And if you missed it, dial back on the podcast to hour number 1. Because Attorney General Todd Blanche has a really interesting series of answers to questions from media babes who want to take him in different directions. What he says is this president ran on something and he's going to fulfill that promise. And we're going to work diligently to do what's right to restore this great nation to its once beautiful and great self. It's fallen through the cracks a touch, don't you think? But Democrats want to do everything to keep it going that way. They want to see violence in the street. They want to see people angry. They want to see an insurrection. They want to see suffering. It's bizarre. And so they're gumming up the works illegally. Nope, not allowed to do that. And then you got enough Obama and Biden judges out there, activist judges, who decide to get in the way. Meantime, this is kind of an unusual victory for the president and his administration. An Obama judge has given President Trump a rare deportation win and officially ends temporary protected status for Somalians. Look, I don't care if it makes me sound discriminatory. I don't care. They came to our country. You came from Somalia. There were problems in Somalia back in the 90s. A lot of time has passed, right? You don't need to be protected anymore. Go home. You've already leached off of the system. You've already stolen untold tens of billions of dollars from us. Get out. I don't care anymore. Well, but my neighbor is Somalian and they're a nice person. I don't care. I don't care. 4 Somalian nationals, did you hear this? Had the audacity to sue to stay in America. They're suing, gumming up our courts and clearly not paying for it. We're obviously paying for it, right? So they could stay in America and continue enjoying the benefits of our generosity, calling Trump a racist. You know, if you love America and you want to stay in America, there's a process. Why doesn't anybody want to follow the process? Except if it has to do with a jab, then shut your mouth, ask no questions, and roll up your sleeve. Make it make sense. Can you imagine calling Trump racist? Let's read this real fast. Boston U.S. District Judge Allison Burroughs, who previously had issued a stay stopping the administration from terminating Somalia's temporary protected status, ended her previous action saying she had to defer to the Supreme Court that in June sharply limited the ability of federal judges to override certain executive branch policies. Is there anything they'll let this president do? Is there anything they won't get in the way of? Is there no like spike strip they're not willing to put down to flatten his tires and throw off the entire administration? No. These are the people who showed up at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania on a scorchingly hot day that felt like we were on the surface of the sun. CNN went after not covering any of his rallies up until that date. Weird. It would be the date that Thomas Crooks crouched on that sloped roof and killed a man and almost killed President Trump. See, everything that I care about is good for everybody. It's not a white thing. It's not a girl thing. It's not a mom thing. It's not a Pittsburgh thing. It's not a conservative thing. It's an us thing. Making America great is not a Wendy thing. It is we, the people, we, the beautiful people of the United States of America. And these judges and these lawyers and these groups like the Southern Poverty Law Center, and I hope that they go down in a burning inferno for using taxpayer money to fund the very anti-Semitism and hate that they alleged to be fighting. They were paying for it. Make it, one more time, make sense. They need you to believe that this is a terrible place, that America sucks. I don't know why you're proud of it. Racist bunch of hillbillies, all these losers, these MAGA, extreme MAGA hicks. Yeah, no. See, what we're doing is what we started doing years ago when they shut our country down, when they locked down our kids, when they filled up the skate parks with sand, took the seats off the swing set, and the nets off of the hoop of basketball nets or hoops, whatever. That's what they did. We voted for something better. We voted to clean it up. That is making America great again. That benefits everyone. Telling the Somalians who've enjoyed our generosity for far too long, you know what? It's time to head back home to your culture, to your own poverty, because we're tired of you stealing our wealth. Bye-bye. And it's multiple other countries too. I voted for that. That doesn't make me racist. That makes me a proud American. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, a very interesting story from Terry Moran, former news hack at ABC, admitting that his news bosses ran his stories by the government. What? Oh boy. Next. I sort of like Jake Tapper now being like, well, we kind of did know nobody was, the lights were on, but nobody was home in Joe Biden's brain. We knew he really wasn't doing anything. But did you buy my book, Original Sin? Come on, Jake. Oh, come on, Terry. Come on, sweetie bug, Terry Moran.
Terry, you ignorant.
I don't want to see people from the Congo here unless they come here and they go through the channels. I don't need to see Haitians eating cats. That didn't happen. Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did.
So
David
when I was on
Muir.
with our friend,
The socialist Ben.
they made comment about that, and I let it go. But I'm like, there's literal video of this.
She's in the thing holding down a cat.
There's literal video. Like,
you're like, is that blood or high C? What is that?
Maybe it's like election fraud. Maybe they're not all eating the cats and dogs. But don't say none of them are eating the cats and dogs.
100% never happened.
There's video evidence, like the Gaylord showing up.
Yeah, it's the guy, it's the cop with the freaking body cam on, and he's walking up, and the woman is down on the ground holding a cat, and you're like, other than that, it's not happening anywhere else. I promise. And then in the debate, David Muir fact checks the president.
That's
I'm
not
like,
true.
Oh, what?
If I'm Donald Trump, I'd want to turn off the debate stage and be like, get the video.
Yeah. Hey, Earl, get that
video.
Get that video. I need that video. Yeah, it's just bonkers. But God, I have to go to the bathroom so bad. I was really hoping I could manage, but I'm like,
And the Wendy Bell Radio Army t-shirts are being ordered.
Oh my gosh.
And then they have to be made. So they're coming. But
I'm not getting one.
They're neither am I.
They're
not
for you.
us.
They're you. That's you.
But I think we're starting at 350 just to get them. And then,
Does Jolene have carpal tunnel yet?
No. She's on it, though. She delivered the Second Amendment commemorative gifts. She's now working on the lighters and Fauci candles.
She just turned 50. Jolene, happy birthday. She's not listening, but whatevs. 50 is a big one. I'm closer to 60 now. God, that sounds old.
Well,
well, you hope I take my Blood Flow 7 and all my supplements. I tell you, got to take care of yourselves, right? Let's see where we are on the Rumbles.
Yeah, she's going to be... So, my brother's...
2.16, thank you.
My brother's company ordered 120 mugs off her. And she's like, okay. And she's like, I'll have them to you in X. And my brother's boss said, she's going to make them that fast. He goes, that's a pretty big order. He's like, you have no idea. He's like, she did 450 for my brother and the person he works with. And the guy's like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm like, they're coming back to the store too. Ornaments are going to be in the store too. So no, no pre-orders. When we put the shirts up, we put them up. We don't want to hold your money. We're not the government.
340 comments, 2.14 rumbles. Thank you guys. Thanks a lot. I appreciate you. Week. In 5 or 6 years, and now the stuff that we had been talking about is coming out with more force. Can you imagine being a news anchor who was blown into the idea that the news bosses were running your stories by Dr. Tony Fauci, and that Fauci waved his magic wand to kill your story? I would have a very difficult time continuing to work for that outfit, because basically it's like entering a new variable into a scientific experiment that's already started. Your results now are all compromised, right? My idea now of what I stand for and what this organization I'm working for as a news outlet is now completely gone. You've now ruined me. I now know that we're not actually doing anything as the fourth estate, that there is no separation. We're all in bed together, and that's disgusting, right? I want you to hear former ABC News hack Terry Moran. Terry Moran says his bosses were reportedly running stories, including a big one he was working on early in COVID, on the lab leak theory that freaking Stevie Wonder could see. They ran his story by the government, by Fauci. He's on this podcast called We the Fifth. And Terry Moran says, look, the mainstream media is censoring news stories that they work with the government on. Listen.
I did feel the heavy hand of censorship in my work at ABC News.
They took the story that you did and either sent a copy of a transcript or a copy of the video to Anthony Fauci.
That's what I was told. I don't know that that's true personally, but I was told that. It was COVID. Early in 2021, I'm seeing online and elsewhere people that I thought were smart saying, maybe this leaked from the lab. Well, that's interesting. So I went to Nightline. I said, hey, I'd like to do a story on, and they were like, great. Yeah, let's do it. We talked to molecular virologists. We talked to people in the Trump administration, and we kind of laid it out, and we're ready to go. And the day that it's supposed to air, it gets reviewed, and it comes back to me, and it is incomprehensible. They'd put so many caveats in there, and it was so legalized.
These lawyers?
Lawyers' standards. And I was told, Fauci.
Oh? A news organization is running things by the government for approval?
Yeah.
I'm shocked you didn't walk out right then.
I'm cursing and screaming in the booth.
And this is day of
air. I've never watched that story and never want to because it wasn't mine.
And the idea was just suggesting that it wasn't a wet market and it was a lab leak was dangerous?
Well, if you know the whole story, right? There was an organized campaign by one of the guys who was funding the research at, what was his name, Daszak or whatever, to get scientists to sign on and say, there's no way there's a lab leak. Anybody says that this came from the lab is, participating in racism or something. And that really silenced. I mean, our standards, ABC News' standards people, took that absolutely to heart.
Wow, Terry Moran is super shocked by stuff we talked about for years, Brock. It's fascinating.
Who's that? Peter?
What's his name?
Yeah.
What?
And newsflash, Terry, no one else watched that episode either.
And by the way, don't act like a tough guy. Like you were furious. I went naughty on them. Oh, whatever.
I was yelling in the booth.
Yeah, right. You have no skills to do anything other than what you're doing. So while the X account Wall Street Apes, it nails it here. He says, look, the media are co-opted and controlled by the government. Bingo.
All right, so obviously by now we all know that COVID didn't come from a natural origin. We all know that it came from a lab leak. That's not the big part of the story. The biggest part of the story is this is an ABC News correspondent, or a former one, that is saying that when he was working there, they were having to run their stories by the government for approval before they could do a segment on them and air it. I mean, if that's the case, that's something that a lot of people have, kind of been a conspiracy theory for a long time, that there is no free press. If the government is working with the mainstream media, then that means that we do not have a free press. And that's what they're saying. A direct quote, a news organization is running things by the government for approval. He says yes. So if that's the case, that means that we do not have a free press. That is the opposite of an independent free press investigating and reporting without government side pressure or deference. This means what they're saying is that we do not have a free press. It means the mainstream media is working with the government. We all knew it to be true, but this is just confirmation of that.
I mean, the shocker value there is below zero, right? Well, why didn't you stand up right after that, Terry? Well, why didn't you do something? Why did you go after President Trump so hard in that interview in the Oval Office? You know, the one that ultimately led to your demise because you sounded like a deranged lunatic? Isn't it interesting? That's why the Wendy Bell radio program exists, because you can trust us and you can't trust them. Great to be here at this new time. Great to be on the John Fredericks Radio Network with all of you. Come on back tomorrow. We'll do it again. I love you. Peace.